Hi, everyone. We record this podcast live every Monday for our Rooster Teeth First members. If you want to see it live, join us at roosterteeth.com at the link below. Ignore the man with the camera. I do. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's Rooster Teeth podcast, brought to you by Audible, MeUndies, and Warby Parker. My favorite of the Parkers. Maybe next to Peter Parker might be my favorite. I'm Bertie Burns.
I'm Chris. I'm Gavin.
I'm Ashley.
And
I'm Gus.
Is absent this week.
So Gus went to Australia for, what, 2 weeks?
All right, let's talk about this. Why did Gus go to Australia? What was the point of that? I gotta hide this picture.
You mean theoretically?
My understanding is that
We know what he said.
he wants to scout locations or something.
What?
Or check the venue for the next RTX.
Well, I'm kind of confused. I thought the venue's not done yet. I thought the venue, because it's in the brand new convention center in Sydney in King's Wharf, like right there, or Darling Harbour.
We hadn't announced it yet, but okay, good.
What? Yeah,
No,
you
I'm
had.
just kidding.
Yeah, don't do that to
That's
me.
what I'm gonna do
Oh my
every
God.
time I talk about RTX Sydney. I mention who's going. Like I announced you. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. You
I
announced?
I announced you by accident without not knowing. I said Ashley was going to be going to
Let me ask you this.
Sydney with me.
Why are you so bad at your job?
They just tell me, hey, will you tweet about RTX? They don't tell me. Then as soon as I put the tweet out, they're like, oh, you fucked this up and you fucked that up. I'm like, well, give me the tweet, and then I'll just rewrite it. You know?
Well, it's hard too that when you know like all the everyone internal knows stuff, and it just gets really easy when you're having a conversation with people. It seems like everyone knows, and you forget what's the part that we know that other people don't know.
And then we do live content like this, live.
Right. And
Chris, I
then-
think you've worked
then it all
with
gets
me
fucked.
long enough. I went through a phase where I said that people could not say to me anymore the phrase, don't you remember we talked about this? I'm like, if it's not in the email, it doesn't fucking exist. Because people would do that all the time. It's like, oh, we're shooting this thing downtown. You're supposed to be here. It's like, what? Nobody told me I'm supposed to be there. I have no record I'm supposed to be there. And like, well, don't you remember we talked about it? Yeah, we talked about it, and it was on Monday, and you were like, oh, I don't want to go downtown on Wednesday. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's like a 2-second conversation. It's like, that's not the way you run a production or something similar like that. So we went through a phase where people were not allowed to say, don't you remember we talked about this?
I remember you guys really liked it when we started using call sheets.
Very excited about it.
It's taken me a long time to figure out how to read a call sheet. They're very complex.
All right, somebody explain what a call sheet is. Actually, go.
Okay, a call sheet is a thing that the people who are working on movies, like the organizational people, send out to say, you turn up at this time at this place, and you turn up at this time in this place, and here's where the nearest hospital is, just in case you understand.
Well,
And
you get it at 8 o'clock the night before, and it's like says you need to be here at 8 o'clock a.m. at this place and be ready to go to set by 9, which really isn't your responsibility. You should show up at the time.
I've been the recipient of maybe 500 call sheets in my life, and my reaction is always the same.
It
You
is.
see your shitty call time, and you get miserable.
Because that's the thing that tells you you're going to be up at 5 in the morning sometimes, and you're going to be
Call
going-
time's at 7, and it's 2 hours away.
Yep. Well, you've had some weird things like in the U.S. when you're on a production, if it's a union production, then they have turnaround times where if you're done at 11, you can't start till, and I don't know off the top of my head, but we wouldn't be able to start till like 1 o'clock the next day because we stopped at 11 p.m. So you start early in the week on the Monday or whatever your first day of shooting for the week is, and then slowly over the course of the week, you get later and later start time because you run late at night. And then by the end of it, you're shooting at night. Like you come to set at 11 p.m. and you're done at 7. And then it kind of resets over the course of the weekend.
Or you had like what you did with Laser Team, because so much of it was shot at night, where you're pushing it further and further and further at night until you're like, well, we start in the morning now, so everyone have the day off.
Yeah.
And that was the time that we would see you.
Yeah, well, his thing, though, there were times in the UK when you were working on commercials, there were times, Gavin, you shot for like 36 hours straight, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that long. It was like 26.
That's
But
crazy.
I remember my call time was 8 a.m. and I shot around 9 a.m. the following morning.
Wow.
And I just sat around for a day with my thumb in my ass waiting to do the slow-mo shot.
Did you get paid a lot for having your thumb in your ass that long?
Yeah. After 10 hours plus lunch, so 11 hours, you get time and a half. And after midnight, it was triple time.
So you get like a full day's wage at triple time.
You can, and it's great because you can see everyone getting all like grumbly that they're still at work and it's like 9 p.m. They're like, oh, God. But as soon as it goes over midnight, everyone's like, making some bucks now.
Yeah. I'm just hanging out
And
for
then
a little while.
immediately people go and take a dump because you get paid a lot for those dumps after midnight.
So everyone's just holding it?
Well, I mean, no, it's like a fun thing to be able to say. It's like, just took a shit, made £90. It was great.
When you were making an hourly wage before you got any kind of salaried position or anything, what's the highest hourly rate that you ever got? I think the highest I ever earned was, I think I got $7 an hour.
I was the highest paid on my section for
$8. I got $8 an hour.
I worked my way from £3.93 to £6.50 an hour. And then I quit.
Let's see. I started at like $2.50 because I was working in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then I think I went up to $4.25 my next job. That was, I think, the one where I was selling swords, and I was like, oh, yeah.
How much? How much you make?
Like, $4.25.
$4.25
an hour, yeah.
And you were selling swords?
Hell yeah.
Is that a metaphor?
No.
Something? Oh.
I sold actual, well, I mean, it's a metaphor in that they were like shitty ass swords.
Do you know about swords now? Like you're like, well, that's a scimitar.
I can be like, this is the Hercules sword, this is the Xena sword, and this one is from Lord
What?
of the
I never
Rings.
heard of this job. What's
Oh
this
yeah,
job you do?
it was like a kiosk in a food court in a mall. I'm pretty
swords?
sure. I'm pretty sure they sell cell phone cases there now.
Who needs
Cell phone
lunch
cases
and a
and
sword?
swords.
Absolutely nobody.
That's why she only made 40
It didn't last that long.
I bet. Well, Ashley's first job, I love her first job. She worked. Ashley, can I tell you where you're from?
You may.
She's from rural Utah, basically. She's like, she would drive 40 minutes to get to school every day over like the top of a mountain. This is not a joke. This mountain pass she had
Hey,
to
I
take.
had two choices. I could take the canyon, or I could take the pass.
And one of her classmates, like at least once a year, drove off the pass and
No.
like it crashed.
and died?
Well, I don't know. I
Well, they
wasn't
didn't
there.
always die.
Just sometimes.
Usually they.
But it
didn't
was
die.
just a thing. It's like, yeah, they fell off the pass.
Yeah, it was like
It was like Oregon Trail
oh,
for her to go to work every day.
you just go, oh, that turn. Oh yeah, okay, and like suddenly it all makes sense.
Yeah.
But she worked.
Unfortunately, that road's very safe now, and I feel like a pussy driving on it.
What's that?
Like they've widened it. Now there's all these really hardcore guardrails, and whenever I drive it, I'm like,
Guardrails.
yeah.
Yeah, they have stripes in the middle of the road and everything.
I'm like, pussies.
There's lights on it at night. Bullshit.
But her first job she worked in a mine-themed restaurant, like a mine cart-themed restaurant, and she was the dessert girl. What was the name of the place?
It was the Oaks. It was like a riverside restaurant in the canyon. Like the only part that was wide enough to have both a road and a restaurant. And it was the dessert girl. So I dished out ice cream, ate ice cream, dished out cake, ate cake, and then just like snuck a bunch of other food.
That's a cush gig, even for $2.50 an hour.
And every
It
so
was
often,
real sweet.
a
I was
car
not
would come
complaining.
careening off the road and smash through the restaurant. Did that happen?
No,
sometimes?
that was you're thinking of the past. This was the canyon. Totally different.
Sorry.
They people have to go through the canyon when the pass is closed, which has
Yeah,
happened
they did
a
close
couple
the
times.
pass, and then you'd be like, it's gonna add 15 minutes to my commute to school.
There's a weird thing, though, when you commute. Like, if you drove 40 minutes in a car, you're like, this is a really long time. But if you drive that 40 minutes every day, it just gets to be no big deal. Like, it's just part of your routine.
What's the longest commute you ever had?
Man, I grew up in Houston. I think I drove 30 to 40 minutes to go to my high school job at Town and Country Mall in Houston, Texas. I worked at a...
Wait, was this mall like named after the magazine?
No, but I think Town and Country was just an expression. It's really sad, too. It's like the first mall I ever saw that, like, completely emptied out. Like, 4 years after I worked there, it was just, like, clear. It was like a ghost town, you know? It was, like, really kind of creepy and weird. But I worked at a company called Houston Trunk Factory, which is now called Bag and Baggage. And
That makes a lot more sense.
I sold luggage. And I drove about 40 minutes to that job. Yeah.
Were you a good luggage salesman?
I was pretty good, but it's like one of those. There's some jobs you can get where it kind of changes your opinion of something. Like I had a buddy who sold pens. He worked at a pen store. So for the rest of his life, he has to buy these really freaking expensive pens because he knows all about pens. And it's like, oh, that's a shit pen. He just can't lower himself to do it. So now when I buy luggage, I like my carry-on bag that I carry is a $300 bag. I could probably get the same bag for $100. But I know that brand really well, and it's great.
Man, I could sell
the
the
brand?
shit out
To
of some
me.
pens. I'm like, this is our finest Bic. You'll notice the ballpoint on the end is already covered in ink.
You don't have that? You never had that when you went to work somewhere and it's like you got involved with that thing so much that you never thought you'd be spending money on this stuff and suddenly you're spending money on this thing? You never had a job like that?
Well, I only buy the finest of swords. That's true.
That's true, right? Like now you can like go buy swords.
I only watch the finest YouTube videos on the internet.
Chris, did you have any jobs before?
Yeah, I in high school I was worked at Marble Slab Ice Cream.
Did you really?
Yeah. That was like my first job.
Did you
and
sneak
then-
any little tastes?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. We'd always come up with weird stuff to eat. You know, like see how many flavors you can mix.
I
Or
was gonna say weird stuff. You're in an ice cream shop. It's eating ice cream.
yeah, you mix it all, or it's like like with this thing in blast freezer, you could put like gummy bears in it, and it'd freeze it like negative like 10 or 20 degrees, and you throw them against the wall, and then they shatter like glass, like Terminator style.
No,
That
I didn't know
sounds
that. I'm doing that
awesome.
tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's like the first time you learn that if you put a marshmallow in the microwave, it like just
Expands.
explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked in fruit and veg. I never once ate any fruit or veg while I worked there. Even though there was wastage, like, so at the end of the day, you'd have to like write off all the crap that didn't sell, was out of date, bung it in the, you have to scan it and throw it away. Once a guy scanned a load of grapes to say it was wastage, ate one, threw it away, got fired for eating it.
What?
You got fired for a year?
For eating
No,
it.
he got fired for eating it,
Oh,
for
really?
eating the grape.
A grape.
Yeah, can't eat the wastage.
And they would just throw it away. In France, they have a rule where they have to donate all their waste, all their
That's pretty new, though.
like old food.
If it was
Yeah,
packaged-
all grocery stores have to donate them to homeless shelters, don't they?
In France, I
Yeah.
believe.
No, we threw ours in a bin.
Yeah. We do the same thing in America. It just goes away. All that food that nobody buys. It's like
And a lot of it is just like it's only being written off because it's past the date on the packet.
it's not bad yet.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It sucks.
The sell by date.
Yeah.
I don't ever worry about stuff like that. I eat anything.
I just look for mold.
No. To me, it's a mental thing. When I see it's past that date, I'm like, well, I don't know. It's a risk.
I like the ones that say Best By, and I'm like, so you're saying it's Best By this date, but still probably okay.
Yeah.
Of
All
course,
medicine's like
that's
that.
how things end up in the fridge for like 2 years. I once found a bottle of ketchup that was expired by 2 years.
Yeah,
I don't even know how long ketchup takes to expire.
At least a year, probably.
I mean, don't you have those cans of food that like go through like two places with you where you move twice? and
Yeah.
you're
Like,
like you finally
I've
look
never
at it, you're
moved
like,
food.
oh, this is like from 2013.
I did that one. It's like one time I bought sugar cane.
What?
What?
Like sugar cane? Not just sugar?
No sugar cane.
Aren't those the ones? Don't you have to like squeeze?
I didn't
the
know. I
sugar
was like,
out?
I was
Isn't
at the
it some
grocery
weird
store. I was like,
process?
sugar cane. Huh. I'm
Well,
gonna
I
buy
need
this.
This will come in handy eventually.
So I bought it, and then it's like I was like, I'll eat this next time I want something sweet.
Or if I need to make a book in Minecraft, and I could do that.
And then like 2 years later, I was moving. I was like, why do I have sugar cane? I was like, oh, I've never had sugar cane. I'll take it to the next place.
Just in case. You never know when the urge for sugar cane is gonna hit.
I would actually subscribe to a service where if I paid like $20 a year, one time someone would just come and take everything from my fridge while I was at work.
Oh,
Just so I had-
hire Burnie. I'll
Yeah,
come
but-
home sometimes and open the fridge to get a snack, and there is literally nothing in it because
Yeah.
he's decided to just go through
little
and
purge?
have a purge.
I do the same thing with my clothes.
That's when I start chewing on his arm.
Did I ever tell you, Chris, the time where I found some instant noodles, like called pot noodle in the UK? And they expire, I think around the time they're expiring like 3 years after when you bought them. And I found this pot of pot noodles, and it was like 9 years expired. I think it expired in like the year 2000 or
Wait,
something.
where at? Just at your
In my house. Yeah, it was like in my bedroom. I think I was keeping it because it was so old. And I just took it back to the store and put it on the shelf with all the other ones.
Were you just trying to make someone's life a little more
Yeah, I was trying to
surreal?
really confuse someone. They'd be like, all right, what is this? They don't look like this anymore. It was like probably a decade since it'd been in the store, and I just put it back right with all the other ones.
Jesus Christ. What if someone ate it and died?
I don't know. It was funny enough to do it. Probably wouldn't do it now at my current age.
See, I hate that because one time I went to the bank and got some money, and I got like $180, but the $100 bill they gave me was a super old one.
It was expired.
But it was no, it had the old like it doesn't look like that anymore. I had that experience with it, and I'm like, oh, I can't get rid of this. I don't know why I have that, and I carry that. I've been carrying the $100 bill for like 3 years now, and it's like I can't spend it. I'm basically wasting $100.
Well, it's better than sugar cane.
It is a little bit better than sugar cane. That'll buy a lot of sugar cane, but it's crazy. I just
So
hold on.
are you keeping it for a conversation piece?
I don't know. Well, I guess I'm talking about it now, but
I mean,
no, I
that's
wasn't
fine.
doing that.
I always keep foreign money just in case.
I have it
you
on
know.
me now. I'm sure. Yeah, here it is. I carry it with me wherever I go. So see, that's the old school 100. Look at that thing. It looks
The
like it's
thing
from
is,
the
though, that
50s.
looks right to me. What does $100 look like
It has
now?
like the big bold 100.
Yeah, it has the big Benjamin Franklin.
But I
big
remember
fucking
there was
independent face.
There was an
right there
older
in your
one though.
face.
I remember being a young.
Yeah,
Give me
that
back my
seems,
money.
that
Are you saying
seems
that
like, that seems like there used to be one that was even different than that. The 100 was smaller. or
Now they're all
something.
colorful and everything too. It's unacceptable.
I think
Too many
American
changes.
money's
It's
not
easy.
very exciting.
What's that?
The colors on like the new like American bills that they've put out, they just look like someone dipped a green dollar bill in Kool-Aid and went, yeah, that's good enough.
What do you
Like,
want
they get
from
really.
cash?
I like
What
the
are you, a
really
commie?
cool
What's
stuff.
wrong with you? You don't like
Yeah,
money?
fuck yeah. I want the plastic stuff.
You want
where
that
it's got,
shitty
like, see-through
Australian
little-
money.
Yeah, I do. You know, it's different sizes, so blind people know what denominations they have.
Well, in America, you have somebody who tells you. It's like you're holding a 5.
Yeah,
good.
for
Give me
Give me up. Give it up.
I'm not sure if it's the same way, but for some reason, the English £50 note, which is now garbage and worth nothing, is way too big for any wallet. Like, it always folds over the top.
Is that the
That's
highest
just-
denomination?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've,
that's
I've
just
never
so
really
that it
carried
peeks
one
out
around.
and everyone can see it and go, "Oh yeah, I'm
They're
be
actually
impressed."
They're actually really rare. They're way more rare than a $100 bill.
India just
See,
discontinued.
look at
a
all that lovely
denomination.
Australian money. It's so bright and colorful, and it's got windows and shit, and it
The-
can go through the laundry no problem because it's plastic.
The
That's
new
true.
one they announced has that little window. Instead of that, it's got a clear section. Like it goes top to bottom, the window. So it's like almost like a clear stripe that runs through about 2/3
So
of
it's
the way
wearing
down.
a midriff.
It's more, yeah, it's like a bare
Let's do a future prediction. What will be the date that the last piece of US currency is printed
Oh, Jesus.
in cash form?
Oh.
Would
So is this?
Is this assuming a Trump re-election? Is this what is the what's our scenario here? I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, I think it's going to take at least 100 years.
I
From
think
now?
what will cause
I'd
it.
say so. I mean, I know that we're moving more and more towards credit. Like, I rarely carry cash, but I still feel there's a need for it to exist.
All right, I'm already catching shit for carrying a $100 bill. I pointed out the fact that I was carrying a $100 bill for a very stupid reason. Now people are upset with me because I had a $100 bill.
What's wrong
Well,
with a $100 bill?
do the appropriate thing and just tear it up.
Get the fuck out of here. There's no way. No, the joke's not $100 funny. All right, stop buzzing me. I get
Wait,
it.
well, why are people annoyed by that? Just
What's
because it's a high denomination to have in your wallet?
I guess so. Yeah. Well, 100 is the highest denomination of currency in the U.S. I always thought there were bigger ones, but they just don't exist.
That's like a
Well,
cartoon
it would,
thing. Like
heist
$1,000.
movies would be a lot less exciting if you could have bigger than $100 bills.
Why would it be less exciting?
Because you just like pick up a tiny little stack like this and you're like, all right, 100,000, let's go.
As opposed to like, well, you know, when in those heist movies when they're grabbing those gold bricks, you know, and they're stacking them up in the back of a truck or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we're stealing all the gold bricks. Each one of those gold bricks, I priced it like 10 years ago. Each one of those gold bricks is worth about $130,000. And now they're probably worth $250,000 each based on the price of gold and how it's gone up.
So what you're saying is we need to go steal a bunch of gold bars.
It's just one of those things that's like when you see them do it in a movie, it's like, it's a shitload of money.
But is $1 million in cash heavier than gold?
Is
Or
$1
not?
million in cash heavier than gold?
I'm
Can't
going to
be.
say no.
No, gold's
Gold
got to
is
be
heavy
heavier.
as hell.
So it's more efficient to nick the cash.
More, yes.
Well,
Well,
but
but more
it's-
space. $1 million is hard to do in terms of space because it take up about half that coffee table.
So we now
In
are arguing
denominations
in
of
favor
100.
of higher denominations.
What's that?
Much more convenient to steal.
Yeah. So if you're listening to the podcast and you're planning your heist, go for the gold stuff. there was a dude somewhere who just got busted for up the butt. He took the
You got busted up the butt?
yeah. He took some gold. He worked somewhere that had gold. And he was
It
like,
was I want to say it was the mint. It was
put a-
either-
he put a
the
mint up his
It was either the mint or like a
Fort Knox?
or a Fort Knox type place. And
How did
he,
they catch him?
Yeah,
So-
he got caught for trying to smuggle
Risky?
gold out his butt.
risky Google search coming up here. I'm looking up gold up the butt. Let's see what we get.
You'll probably find the website that makes gold casts of your anus.
Nailed it. Royal Canadian Mint allegedly smuggled 140 G's worth of gold in his butt.
If you,
Oh,
It's only one brick.
What's that?
He got
Only
a whole
one
brick
brick.
up his ass.
but imagine the size of those bricks. Like maybe he might have had to practice.
or just shave off a little bit. Gold shavings. In a sandwich
I thought you were
bag.
talking about shaving his butt would somehow make them.
This is awesome. This reads like the world's greatest math problem. Court heard Lester Lawrence of Barhaven, Ontario, brought several chunks of gold in cookie-sized 7.4-ounce nuggets called pucks to an Ottawa gold buyer's outlet where he said he was paid approximately $6,800 per puck, which totaled for the amount that he had about 180 G's worth of gold up his butt. So if each puck is $6,800, how many gold pucks would you need to shove up your butt to get 180 G's?
I feel like we
Do
need
the
to put
math.
this to
That'd
the,
be a good SAT
to the
question.
sixth graders.
I just like that they're
pucks.
called pucks.
There was
Or bucks for short.
I mean,
And
yeah.
that's where that word came from.
There you go, butt pucks.
did you take the SAT?
Yeah,
Did you take the SAT?
I took the ACT.
I took the ACT as well. Did you take the ACT?
I did not.
It's optional when I took it. We had to take the SAT, but I took the SAT and the ACT.
OBGYN.
See, we in Utah.
Listen, no one's talking. I didn't want to involve you in this with your British system.
Did he just say OBGYN?
Yeah. He
Okay.
pretends like the American system is complicated when he can't even explain
It bloody is. Everyone's a freshman
There's
or
a-
like a
Do you
junior.
have any idea how many forms you've got? Lots
we,
of forms.
There's entire like YouTube channels dedicated to Gavin trying to
Oh,
explain the
Chris, you're about to
British-
be so happy.
I tasted it.
It's so good. This is my favorite beer in the world. and it's
Literally,
only
it is her
around-
favorite beer.
It's only around
Hold it
for
up
like
so they can see
3
it.
months. This beer, if you can get this beer, get this beer. This beer bottle's happiness. I can only get it for like 3 months, and I was
Did you buy this?
devastated. No, this was in the fridge from Extra Life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like we have to hunt for it all the time. Like after Christmas, they'll slowly run out of stock,
Well, when's the sell by?
and we have to try
Stock up.
Try and find places that still have it.
I might.
Buy in bulk.
I might. This is good stuff. The second like the spring beers start to come in, I get scared.
If you ever want to bring Ashley a gift at an event, if you're listening at home, shine your cheer beer. Or what the hell is that cider you like? Record
Recorder
leg.
Yeah,
Record
it's
leg.
it's a cider. It's made in Europe, but I've only had it like they import it in Australia, and that's where I've had it. They don't have it in the U.S. And they have these amazing flavors. Like they've got like strawberry blueberry, and there's like a strawberry lemon. They have a winter one that you can heat up on the stove and drink it warm,
It's
and it's
winter
all
flavor?
cinnamony. It's so good. I'm tempted to move to Europe just so that I can have that kind of alcohol.
Really?
No.
Okay. It's like a billion reasons to move to Europe. You want to move for the record your leg.
I like that you have your iPad on resting
The
against.
iPad is for the ad copy
Oh, okay.
that we have for this evening.
Do you want to do an ad?
No, I'm good. I'm good. You know, Ashley and I though I had an IPA this weekend. When I order a beer, I basically say, just give me an IPA. It's like my go-to beer when I'm out, and they're like, well, we have and I go, that one. Like immediately, whatever they start to
just doesn't-
say,
he
I'm like,
does
just
not
give
wanna
me
think
that.
about it.
That's fine.
I find that even if I try and listen to the list, I'm only thinking of the name of the first one, and I'm not hearing all the other options. And even if they get through the entire list, I say the first one.
I
It's
tend to
the
be
only one I remember.
listening for one that I like,
Hmm.
like or
All
like
have
one that sounds
dumb
familiar,
names.
and all the other ones I'm like, wait, I didn't actually absorb anything else because I had an expectation and you didn't meet it.
You know what? I feel like that goes into so much. Like when you see a funny name for a beer, or you see like the cool artwork now
my
they
God.
have on the side of the 6-pack.
I used to order cider all the time because it was called Dirty Granny,
There you go.
and I could say go to the bartender and say, give me a Dirty Granny.
Well, that place we go to in LA sometimes with Colton, I always get the ginger minge.
Right.
Probably not the best
Exactly.
drink on
Because you
the.
like saying it.
Like saying I like ordering the ginger minge.
It's funny. It's like you don't realize the
really not the
marketing that
point.
goes into that.
Yeah.
It's like when you judge a book by its cover, same kind of a thing. The cover of a book is like, it actually sells more books than anything else.
You know, the cover of video games sold me for a really long time too. Now that it's digital, I'm at a loss. I used to spend a lot of time just in the aisle at stores, looking at me like, that's a cool one. Look at the gloss on that, and buying it, and then deciding whether or not it was worth the box.
Same thing at Blockbuster.
That's how I bought
Atari
Oni.
used to have the best ones. They were like abstract paintings because all the games were fucking blocks.
Oni was a
Okay,
good
I'm
game, though.
thinking mostly like the old PC games. Remember when they were in boxes this big?
Yeah.
And you had to be like really fucking upset at Tomb Raider because for some reason they wanted to sell a box that was shaped like this, and it didn't fit on the shelf ever. No,
I didn't see
No.
that.
no, it's a fucking travesty. Just let me tell you.
What don't you judge by the cover? Is there something that's like you don't judge by the cover?
People.
Good lord. Yes, you do.
Yeah, I know. I do. I
asked Ashley the
absolutely
other day, I
do.
said, would you rather be super smart or really good looking? Like top 0.1%. Oh. And she was like, good looking.
if you're that good looking, everyone will pretend you're that smart.
Well, here's the thing though.
Well,
The smartest people aren't the happiest people.
That is true.
Also that.
There's too much to know and like too much sadness to know.
Chris
I
has his
figure-
hand up.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
how smart are you? Are you equally dumb?
No, that's not it. Just starting with who you are today, would you want to be like top 0.01% smart? Smartest person in the world or best looking person
Okay.
in the world? Let's say
Question:
that.
I'm already both.
Is this based on Westworld?
Let's have a talk later.
Westworld attributes.
Well, we can't. Do you want to give spoilers for that?
No. I mean, I just think I know that they have like they're based on various attributes. Like that's how they build them, right? So imagine dragging one all the way to the top in your AI.
Yeah, but I just think like they didn't show like all the attributes for those
I wonder
characters.
what would your attributes for a robot be?
Um,
If
When
you're
you
gonna
when you're
make one.
building an AI that doesn't know it's an AI, what
Dance
would your
moves.
attributes be?
top. Put that bar to 10 for
Sweet
dancing
rhythm.
robot. I get a dancing robot in 2
Cleaning out the
seconds.
fridge.
I wonder.
No. We should go home and watch Westworld tonight. We're not going to talk about anything. But he was telling me that he wanted to start a conversation with Westworld, which means we should catch up.
Yes.
I caught up instead on Walking Dead. And sometimes, and this is one of those periods in Walking Dead, when you get caught up, you're like, what did I catch up on? What happened? It's like, I have no idea. Last 3 episodes of Walking Dead are just, I can't even tell you over the course of any one of those episodes what happens. It's like all one big long episode.
Westworld is really good. I think I like it more than Game of Thrones.
It's very slow though.
I wish there were more
it's-
sword fights.
It's a very
Sword
exciting
fights.
world they're
Or,
building.
I don't know, pushing kids out of windows.
Yeah.
Like that
What's wrong with you?
there's
We need to have a talk.
there's there's a certain lowering of stakes when people can't really die.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
I mean, there's still danger.
Well, there's still danger, but there's not mortal danger.
I mean, you could ride your fake horse off a cliff by accident.
That's true, assuming the fake horse would let you ride off a cliff.
we did. If you're
Good
really
point.
interested in Westworld, we did an entire post show dedicated to Westworld. just
Yeah,
recently,
that was
didn't we?
it was a post show for the patch actually,
for
because
the
we were
patch.
specifically talking about how it's like the best video game adaptation out there.
It is. It's like that world is like you're in an MMO all the time. You have quest givers and everything else.
What do you think about Westworld as compared to like that immersion that we did? Like
The Fallout
the
one?
sniper one.
Sniper.
The
Not
sniper
sniper.
one?
I mean
Hitman?
Hitman.
Oh.
I would actually compare it to the Fallout one
Okay.
because it was that
Yeah.
same kind of like
And it was just like open
rustic
world.
world, and it's like just go.
Find whatever. Oh
They're
god, there's
quest
there are
a
givers.
NPCs with stuff that
Yeah.
are like, oh, you have to do this. Yeah, yeah.
I shot Tyler by accident. That
Yeah.
could easily happen in the show or in a game. It's a really good show. I really do like it.
I like it as well. I like it more than I was expecting to. I do wish they'd pick it up a little bit in terms of just the pacing of each episode, but overall, I really like it. And it seems to me very well poised to take over where Game of Thrones leaves off. Because it's pretty clear that's what they're building it up to be, right?
Well, they just showed Westworld on Friday. They showed it at the drive-in theater that's right next door to our studio here.
The movie?
The original one with Yul Brynner, yeah. And there is another movie in that series from back in the
Future World?
late 70s, yeah, Future World. So they could do another one. And theoretically, I believe they even set up in Future World, if I remember correctly, other worlds they have, like Medieval World and stuff like that.
Which is
on-
basically just Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
at that point.
basically,
yeah.
it's like Game of Thrones. You wait 3 years, and then people are like, I really like the knights and stuff. Where's the dragons and stuff? There we go.
Based on
here's
last
the thing: is
night's
you're gonna get
episode,
to
though.
you're gonna get to the end of Game of Thrones, and someone's gonna be like, "Congratulations, you won," and then they log off. It turns out it was part of it all along.
You know what made me
Nah.
watch Walking Dead and get caught up on Walking Dead?
What?
Was one of the actors that I followed tweeted, go, hey, thanks for the great messages everybody's been sending me. Thanks for watching the show. I'm like, did he just die? Did he just die? Shit. And then I got off Twitter and caught up on it. I'm like, oh, he didn't die. Spoiler, one of the characters didn't die. So I was like, you motherfucker, why'd you do that? Because that show, it's like you never know. If you see a Walking Dead character on the cover of a magazine, they're probably got offed in some way.
I would say that Westworld is going to be a great show to watch again when it's done.
Really?
I think so too.
She
S-
wa-
Speaking of things that you should watch, and then I would consider watching again, is probably a movie like Arrival.
Is
you
it
guys-
Arrival or The Arrival?
It's just Arrival. I thought it was The Arrival as well. I went back and looked it up, and it's just Arrival. Have you guys seen
The-
anything
no,
like
well,
that?
like
See,
the-
that's funny you said that because I was talking to Michael about it. He said he loved it, but he doesn't think it's a movie he'll ever see again.
I said the exact same thing.
Really? I
He
feel
said
like I
once
would.
you know the ending, you don't need to see it again.
No, I want to, because I feel like I want to go back and knowing the end point, see how it all comes together.
All right.
I
haven't
want
seen
to
it
go
yet.
back and see the
Go see
construction.
it.
I'll see it.
Well, it's
It's
based
Doctor Strange too.
on a popular, I don't know if it's a short story novella called "The Story of Your Life." When it's this, and I was just recently reading that on Kindle because I like the movie Arrival so much. I'm downplaying it a lot just because I think you should go see it. It's a really tremendous movie. I would highly recommend that even before going to see Doctor Strange, which I've still only seen the first hour of.
Should I see it in a movie theater
I think
or
you should
on
just
a
go.
plane?
I think you should just go see it.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. You should just go see it. That's it. It's a very well crafted story, but it's also a lot about linguistics and everything, and you have to be super into that.
super smart, like top 1%.
Or if not, you don't have to be that smart. You can be the prettiest person and still like enjoy this movie. That's what I'm saying. You can do it. And if you don't have time, like if you can't go see the movie, you could always just buy the book or read the book, or you could read the audiobook.
I'm sorry, you don't have time to watch a 2-hour movie? You should get the book.
You ruined my segue. Thanks to Audible.com for supporting this episode of Rooster Teeth Podcast. Audible has an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original shows, news, comedy, and more. Audiobooks are great to listen to when you are driving, at the gym, Gavin, or shopping. For our audience, Audible.com is offering a free audiobook with a free 30-day trial. If you want to listen to it, Audible has it. Just go to audible.com/roosterteeth. That's audible.com/roosterteeth. And browse their unmatched selection of audio content. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Get a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial at audible.com/roosterteeth. That's audible.com/roosterteeth.
I love it when you're steering the conversation towards an ad read because you get more red and frantic as you get closer there. You're like, well, it's a good movie and you don't have time to watch a movie. You could easily read a book.
So, just so you know, I was trying. She diverted me twice. I wasn't gonna let it happen this time though. When I was doing the judge a book by the cover, is there anything you don't judge by the cover? I was just about to say I don't judge audiobooks by the cover, but she was like, I don't judge people, and then she went off on some tangent.
I like that if you didn't say that, the audience wouldn't think of anything of it. But you could then go back and be like, failed attempt. Failed attempt.
They don't often fail, but that one fell a little flat.
You just don't like interrupting
ebooks
Ashley.
really have put me off judging books by the cover because there really isn't one anymore.
No.
The little thumbnail you get on Amazon is nothing. So now it's pretty much all the synopsis and then like the top 3 reviews from customers.
She
Now
reads
it's thumbnails.
she reads a lot of books.
I read a lot.
She finished 2 books this weekend.
Yeah, I
Wow.
did. Well, one of them I was just finishing a book that I'd started. The other one was, oh God, I think I'm half dead. You know what? I'm just going to read some Terry Pratchett all day long. And really, who wouldn't?
Did you read them back to back, or were you reading 2 books at once?
So I read all the way through the Terry Pratchett book, and then I went back to another one that I had been reading, picked it up, and finished it.
I consider that to be 2 books at once. You were reading a book, and then you read another book in the middle.
I don't do that often. Not unless a book feels a little bit like work, where I'm curious to see where it goes, but I'm not gripped by the whole thing.
I'm one of those first. If I read the first page, I've got to go all the way through to the end. I had a friend in high school named Todd Bauer. He's a fucking lunatic.
That motherfucker.
He would do the craziest thing. He would determine if you wanted to read a book. We would be at the bookstore, Walden Books. He'd pick up a book and he'd read the last paragraph. And I'm like, you're
Holy
insane.
shit.
Yeah, that's crazy behavior, right?
Yeah.
That's what a crazy person does.
How many people has he killed? Because
That's crazy behavior.
there's something wrong with that shit.
Yep. And so I was like, I can't get down with that. So I read the first page, and then I know in the first page if I'm sucked in that first page, and then if I am, I'm just there all the way through to the end.
I know some
No
people,
other books
I
in
know-
between.
I know some people who will be watching shows. While they're watching it, they'll go on Wikipedia and read what happens ahead of what they're
Jeff
watching.
used to do that with Lost.
I actually kind of like the moment I got home from watching The Arrival, I downloaded the book and was reading it, and there is an Audible version of it. Actually, when I went to go get the Kindle version of it, it also offered to send me the Audible.com version of it as well. So there actually is a recommendation. If you don't have time to see The Arrival, you can just play it in the car and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've done a lot of audiobooks when we're driving. I also, oddly enough, I actually really like if I'm running out somewhere and I can't have a TV in front of me, which is always a real hardship, I like to have an audiobook.
I will say this. The story seems to be constructed differently than the movie is, such that, and I don't know, just having seen the movie, if it changes my perspective on the story, but it just seems to be constructed differently. I would recommend the movie and then go see the book, go read the book, or listen to the book on audible.com.
I mean, that's generally, if you're not familiar with the property, I would generally say, go see the movie, enjoy it, be impressed by it, and then go read the book and really enjoy it.
There's one difference there. World War Z is the opposite.
You should do the book.
Just definitely read the book.
Yeah, but that's
definitely
because
listen to the audiobook, then maybe go see the movie, but definitely do that last.
World War Z is just a zombie movie with the
Shush.
branding on it.
What's that?
It's a zombie movie with the branding on it. It's hardly even World War Z.
We interrupted you. What were you about to say?
I was about to complain about the iPhone.
Okay, well, let me finish
Oh.
our thought on World War Z. George Romero, the creator of the modern zombie apocalypse genre, said that World War Z and Brad Pitt killed the zombie genre.
Why?
Thanks a lot, Brad Pitt.
Why?
God
World War Z.
damn it.
But why?
I'll look at his quote. You
I
seem
think it was
really
a bad movie.
Well, I don't know, but that's
I think.
that's a
Well,
hard thing
keep
to
in
say.
mind though, like George Romero's type of zombie is a very different type of zombie. They don't run at you like a cheetah and then pile themselves up to get over a
That's
wall.
one of the things he mentioned.
But they already had zombie movies that did that, like 28 Days Later. Now, those aren't technically zombies, but they're essentially zombies, right?
They're zombies.
I think he specifically called out the fact that the book was so Romero-esque in its presentation of zombies and the way that zombies act.
Okay.
That it was like great novelization of the Romero zombies as opposed to the fast zombies, and then the movie just kind of turned that on its ear and took it even further than say something like 28 Days Later. George A. Romero, I don't know what the A stands for, says Brad Pitt
Alfonso.
killed the zombie genre and why he avoids studio films. Gavin, you talk about the iPhone. I'll come back and tell you what George Romero.
Well, yeah,
had to say.
I like to used to walk around and listen to stuff, and I just find that with this stupid lightning connector, I never have headphones on me because I used to have so many pairs of headphones. Like
Yeah.
I would keep them in my jeans. I would just
Yeah,
have,
I do too.
and I would wash them, and then they'd still be in there, and I'd use them. Like I just keep them in all my jeans. So I was like, I'm in the mindset of like I'm gonna use headphones, but now because I only have one pair of headphones with a lightning connector, I never have them on me, and it's so inconvenient. It's like I didn't think it'd be that annoying. It's super annoying not having a headphone jack.
Same. I put
Yeah.
my little headphone thingy in with my travel headphones because you just think, when am I most likely to need them? Oh, probably like if I'm like going somewhere and I need like those headphones. Nope. I was gonna listen to music at work the other day, and I fucking couldn't. It was
Yeah.
bullshit.
I was having trouble loading a video
Bullshit.
on my work.
I'm with you.
I was trouble loading a video on my work computer, and I was gonna pull my headphones out of my computer and load it on my phone. I literally pulled them out of my computer and went, "Oh Christ, can't do that." There's so many things you wouldn't ever think of, like little movements. That's like, yeah, can't do that. You
Yeah.
need like so many of those little adapters.
They're expensive, right?
They're like $10 or something, but
But yeah.
Well, I was on a
buy
plane
5 of them, and then you spend $50.
and I was like, "Oh, there's a cool movie on that I want to watch," and it's like, "Okay, I'll get out my head." Oh, I don't have those, so I can't plug into the airplane anymore because I don't have the jack. I only have Bluetooth headphones now.
Oh.
So I'm or lightning ones, which I just immediately put in a bag somewhere. And I'm like, oh, I can't plug into the airplane. I was like, oh, but I know. I'll just get the free ones that they offer when they walk up and down the aisle. I got those. That's like 2 tin cans with a string. And it's like the worst sounding thing. It's like you got up to 10, and it's like even Batman's like, tell me where you can barely hear anything at all.
Imagine listening to Bane through those.
I don't have my
So we're in
Thing
the
in front of
phase now where it's still super annoying and will be for several years, I assume.
it's
I
pretty
mean,
annoying.
it was annoying enough that Bernie threw his phone down the driveway.
So here's what I did. We live on a hill, and the driveway goes down the hill, and I was moving the trash cans up, and I set my phone down basically so I could like there's something wrong with the wheel of the trash can. So I set my phone down, and I just set it at just like, if I had put it up an inch further, it'd been fine. But I just kind of caught this edge, and it started to slide down the driveway, and it slid the whole way down the driveway on its face, and it like bumped the whole way, and so it's like completely. Let me see if I can block it. It's like completely shattered.
Oh,
Look at
nasty.
that. I've had the phone maybe a month.
It's
dude.
missing chunks.
Yeah, it's the worst I've ever shattered a phone.
Is it smashed up on the back too, or just
No,
the front?
no, phone.
That's an easy repair then. They just swap the front.
Well, I think I have Apple Care, so I'll just do it. You know, I beat myself up when something happens like that, when I make a mistake, and it's like, that's a fucking $200 mistake. Like my drone, when I got it repaired, it's a $1,000 drone, but it wasn't like I didn't total the thing. I just broke the gimbal. That was like a $300 repair. It's like just this one mistake, and I'm out $300. And it's just like, I keep thinking about it all
Bernie,
day.
just use the 100 in your wallet, and it's
Never.
That thing
much
hit
cheaper.
the building so hard.
Yeah,
From the footage, it was like, oh,
It was.
painful.
I don't think I fully explained it. Like Gus came out, he saw me flying it around, and I put it in the sport mode that goes like 45 miles an hour. I was like, "Whoa, it's fucking so fast!" And then Gus came walking out, and I have to admit, I was like, "Oh, here comes Gus! I'm gonna fucking impress him with this." And Gus comes walking over. Gus does this thing when I gotta do the Gus walk.
Why are you trying to impress Gus anyway? There's better people to impress.
You know, it
I
can't be
know,
done.
right? What am I doing with my time? Here's how Gus walks. Gus walks like this. Like he moseys up. So Gus moseys up to me, and I'm flying the drone, and he goes, "Is that a new drone?" I go, "Yeah, it's got this." Bang! Hits the building. And when it hit the building, it was like almost like a cartoon because it's got the 4 arms with the propellers, and you think it just would have gone smash and then fallen, but it went splat, like all four things were like that, like splayed out on the building, and it like hung there for a second and then smashed to the ground. And then Gus goes, "Is that your drone?" I go, "Yeah." Boom, and he goes, and he walks away. He like didn't say a word. He turned on a dime and just walked away from me as soon as it hit the building. It was such a great reaction.
Is it because you were gonna get mad and he didn't want to be around it?
I don't know what it was. It's just Gus, it was momentarily awkward. So Gus is like, I'm out of this.
I can't. I've still never bought a drone. I really want one. I know I'll do that to it. I can't be trusted.
Well, did I tell you about the replacement plan for it?
No.
You know when you go to like Best Buy and you buy an Xbox and it's $300? Like, when you want the replacement plan, it's $50. It's like, well, that's 1/6 of the cost of the item. So no, I'll just take my chances that I'm not going to need that.
To be fair, not a lot of Xboxes are flying around.
Well, they're not like burning out or whatever. Well, on Amazon, when I went to go order a drone, the drone was like $1,000. Said, do you want the replacement plane? It's $850.
What?
So they pretty much expect you're going to smash this thing, and you're definitely going to use that replacement plan. I used mine within the first 12 hours I had that thing. So
you got the replacement plan?
I did a thing where, and it worked out well. I sent my drone in Monday of last week, and today or tomorrow I'm getting my new one. They give me another drone while they repair mine. I have to pay for the repairs, but I don't have to wait 6 weeks for it to be repaired. They just ship me another one.
Well, that's what I've always with the iPhone. You can like go in and faff around at the awful Apple stores that are terrible and suck, or you can just get sent an entirely new phone. They'll charge you for the entire phone, and then you send your old one back, and then they deduct everything except for $100. So you pay $100, but temporarily you've paid for two phones, and they refund it to you when they get your old one back.
That's a lot. I mean, at full price, you get unlocked phones too, right?
Mm-hmm. Because I need to use them in the UK.
People gave me a lot of shit about that drone, smashing that drone. First of all, like I wanted to smash it, like I was doing it for fun, and I was really upset.
Why they give
Wait,
you?
what do you mean this shit?
Because it's a lot of money.
Yes.
Down the pan.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, look at fucking Burnie. He's got this $1,000 thing, and he just wrecks it for fun." It's like, I'm not wrecking it for fun. It was an
Not like
accident.
you poured gasoline on it and set fire to it.
And I was also like, I didn't really respond, but it's like, the phones in our pocket are like $600, $700. People break those all the time as evidence of the fact that I just fucking broke mine.
There
or
are
drop them in
entire,
water or whatever.
like YouTube channels dedicated to taking really expensive electronics and torturing them.
Well, that's
Yeah.
different though. I think that's what they were accusing me of doing. It's like I in no way did I want to smash my drone. That was not intentional in any way whatsoever.
I'm
want me to read about?
I'm happy you did though.
Yeah,
was
I'm
fine.
not. I'm still not happy about it. You want to read about what George Romero thinks?
Yes.
I just had it here. Okay. He said Max Brooks, the author of World War Z, is a friend of mine, and I thought the film was not at all representative what the book was and the zombies were. I don't know. Ants crawling over the wall in Israel. Army ants. You might as well make the naked jungle. As far as I'm concerned, I'm content to wait until sort of zombies die off. This is an interview, so it's being written as he speaks. My films, I've always tried to put a message into them. It's not about the gore. It's not about the horror element that are in them. So that's what he thinks about it. It was just so different from the book. And it's just
I
like,
think his movies are about the gore.
dude, if you go watch a George Romero zombie film, he's right. His messages are like, so they're laid on so fucking heavy. I mean, it's like, it's a lot of civil rights stuff in there, but it's like, you don't see it until you see it, and then you can't not see it. It's like all over the place. Like the zombies themselves as like a persecuted group of people. In some of them, like the one in Pittsburgh, what's that? What's the one with? The one with Dennis Hopper,
Oh,
where they're in the towers.
is that the one whenever like the zombies start
City of the Dead? Land of the Dead? Is that what it is? It's a really late one. There's Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Then there was a huge like 2-decade gap, and then he made Land of the Dead, and I think that's it.
There's a weird moment in Dawn of the Dead. That's the shopping one, right?
Yes, and I want to come back to that in a second.
There's a weird moment where it's a pretty budget-looking movie. Like, it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
But there's one bit where a non-zombie guy gets shot in the head with a shotgun, and his head just explodes everywhere. And it's just like a total throwaway moment. But it's like it's like the most high-budget thing in that movie.
You talking about the original one from the 70s or the
70s.
remake?
70s.
I'm trying to think what that is. That might have been Tom Savini. Tom Savini, I think, gets his guts pulled out, which was like an amazing, like crazy over-the-top gore moment in American cinema. Now in Walking Dead, it's like every 10 seconds something like that happens.
Oh yeah.
Are they just trying to be as gross
Bernie
as
can't
possible?
watch Walking Dead around me.
No,
I'll look at the screen for any 2 frames of the entire show, and I just go, and I have to leave the room.
You could, if aliens watched Walking Dead, they would think that the human skull is made out of paper mache. It's just like in the first season, it's like they're smacking zombies and trying to kill them. By the end of the third season, it's like they're doing like the Three Stooges, poke them in the eye, and that kills a zombie. Like their hand goes to the back of their head all the way through. You know, it's just like
They do kill. They're like, it's very much like.
yeah, like a knife in the center of your forehead. They put a knife through the front of their head.
Is there a plot involving like the weakness of bones after a
Nothing.
certain time? It's
That's
just-
never covered
Oh, okay.
at all.
That's dumb.
It's just like they just walk up to a zombie and they go like that. It's like that you couldn't.
I mean, especially the front. Like your forehead bone is so thick in
Right.
comparison to the rest of your skull.
You
Yeah.
have to go
You
through
can
that.
take a
They'd have
base
to
They like
go.
that.
break a rake, bam, the zombie accidentally falls on it, goes through their fucking skull and out the other side. Lady pierced a guy's skull on a log yesterday by ducking. You know, it's just like I get it. They kind of have to introduce new things, but it's just like sometimes they go way over the top. Like the episode, it might have been the previous week, but I was catching up last night where they introduced these characters that ride around like knights and they ride around on horses, and they were stabbing zombies in the head and stuff, like typical stuff. And I felt they felt like, oh, we got to have something new here. So a guy vertically like sliced off of zombie's face, and it's just like his skull, bare skull, and all that stuff. And it's
Like
just like,
down- but
this is television. This is so gross. Yeah, it's like vertically sliced down like an inch into his face. Like off comes his face.
And then his brain just plops out. or
no,
something?
there's no brain stuff in there. It's just like that was enough. If you
So
damage
still-
the head in any way in Walking Dead, zombie's dead.
So wait, it took the face off, but there was no window to the brain.
It was a pretty deep, like it was frontal lobe
was just-
stuff. Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to scratch your.
like there were no
face.
eyes left. There were no eyes left or anything like that. But Walking Dead, it's like I don't know. It's now in its 7th season, and I think that they're really running into a fatigue thing. Which if they reach their end game with that series where people stop watching it, then they'll basically start killing off a ton of characters over and over again. It's also reaching an interesting point, like Game of Thrones, where they're about to outpace the source material. They're getting pretty close to that.
Although, like, Walking Dead never gave a shit about the source material in any case, and they'd take a character here, they all have completely different fates. It's not, I mean, don't get me
Kinda.
wrong, Game of Thrones
They're
has had
coming
some...
back. They're coming back.
Okay, Game of
Real
Thrones
close.
has had some diversions, but it's stuck close enough to be recognizable. It seems like Walking Dead has just went, thanks for the brand name and a couple of characters, and we're going to go do something completely different with them.
So it's a little different. It's not quite as drastic as that, but it's pretty different. It's not like World War Z book to movie. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite extra life moment from this weekend?
Oh, bar none. It was Blaine throwing up. But
But he didn't throw
He
up.
didn't throw up. He
foamed.
sudsed up. He was like,
you know what he did?
It's like one of your beers when you
He
set it down
gavined.
too hard. Yeah.
His face when it flies out is like such genuine shock. It's so funny.
He shotgunned a beer, right? And then he was like trying to burp, and he's just like, and
There's a long burp, long extended burp, and we zoomed in the camera, walked right up to him because he was burping for so long.
I like that it worked its way from his stomach all the way up to the middle of his mouth before he realized it was coming.
That's a lot of foam.
It's a lot of foam. It's like 3 feet of foam.
And you ate some gross stuff.
yeah, it's
You ate like a
Where
tarantula.
did you guys even find that
Yeah,
stuff?
rattlesnake, right?
It's rattlesnake and then a dry tarantula.
Ugh.
And
I
then at
got-
one point,
Was it hairy?
that was the worst
Here's
part.
the thing: I
Aren't those
feel like
hairs
that
bad
would.
for you?
I don't know.
Is
Right,
that
it's my
what
thing
you-
where they go and they shoot the hairs off their butt. They take their little.
Was it like the skin of a kiwi?
they take their mitts? and
Yeah,
they go,
that's exactly what it felt like. It was like eating a little dried up.
I
kiwi
could see like a night,
prune.
like the upside to eating a tarantula is you're like, guess who's on the bottom of the food chain now, motherfucker.
Well, I didn't think I was.
Do you think that a tarantula is above you on the food chain?
I just think that they think that. I want them to learn better.
Aren't they eaten by birds all the time?
Look,
Like, right
I
in the middle
also,
of the
let's
food
be
chain.
clear, I also leave scorpions in bathtubs to learn their lesson.
She really did. She
What?
found a
Oh, yeah.
scorpion in her bathtub.
It lived
She
there for
realized-
like 5 days and
Yeah.
then went missing.
Why?
I named him Joe the scorpion.
But why do you want to keep a scorpion around?
I didn't. I just didn't want to smush him because that's
fling him outside.
really loud and gross. I didn't want to touch him because they're like poisonous and that would hurt.
Cup.
And so I just left him in the bathtub to slowly starve to death and become a science experiment. And then
What if
he
you
went
wanted to-
missing. I think he went down the drain.
What if you wanted to take a bath?
I just curbed that urge.
you're just smelly.
I would just sit on the corner of the bathtub and watch him for a while instead.
I'm
I mean, I
I'm
didn't
You know
all
what I
like-
did one time as a kid?
See, Burnie told me, what did you did?
So I love Calvin Hobbes. There's one Calvin Hobbes.
You and me, buddy.
Yeah.
You and me.
Wait a minute. Somebody says on Twitter Zombies are the living dead. They're decaying. Of course their bones are weak.
Look, I'm not listening
What?
to anyone on Twitter since a bunch of people using the RT podcast hashtag told me that they also read the end of a book before they decide to buy it.
That's wrong.
They lost credibility.
is the-
It's not okay.
Is the theory that the marrow is degraded? I mean, how much marrow is in your head?
I mean,
anyway,
Like
though?
if you found a skeleton dug it up in a cave, somebody died thousands of years ago, you're telling me you could punch through it with a knife? I don't think so.
No, I can see though, like there's going to be some sort of degradation. It's not like they're
Not
getting
that
their
quickly,
daily
though.
calcium to keep strong bones.
They might be more brittle. Long bones might be more brittle.
Bones
But
don't-
a skull is such a good shape, a good strong shape.
It's
Right, because
purposely
anything
shaped to keep
dome-ish.
things to not break.
Isn't
that's-
a dome one of the strongest shapes you can have, aside short of an actual sphere? Because of the weight distribution?
Yeah, that's why they had a lot of arches. That like you can build an arch
Exactly.
without any building material.
As long as you got a
balance them.
keystone.
Is that what it is?
That's the big thing in the middle that keeps everything
Yeah,
tight.
keeps it tight, keeps it nice.
Keep it tight.
What was I say about Calvin Hobbes? There's a Calvin Hobbes. Loved Calvin Hobbes as a kid, and there's one where Calvin didn't want to take a bath, so he got in a toilet and flushed the toilet. I did that once as a kid.
Did you really?
Yeah,
You
'cause
fit
I
in
was
a toilet?
well, yeah, I was probably in like second or third grade, and
And
I
I
was
guess
like,
note
where'd you
for
put your foot?
international people,
I just
American
kinda, like,
toilets have a lot
got
more
in the
water.
toilet, flushed it, and was like, worked in Calvin Hobbes, worked for me. And I did it, and I was like, that was it. That was my bath for the day.
Did you have soap?
Did you tell your parents?
No, I just got in the toilet and flushed it because I thought it was like I was like one of those. It's one of those things where kids like see something, then they emulate it. It was exactly that. I was like, it worked for him.
I always used to think that you could totally jump out of a window with an umbrella and it would act like a parachute.
exactly.
Well, it
And I
would
tried
slow
it.
you down a little bit.
It does it bollocks.
Really?
It would just-
It maybe slows
Oh,
you down
right.
like
So-
0.5%.
So if it was a stronger, better made umbrella,
Yeah.
and the spokes would actually hold,
If it was
then it would.
very big, probably.
So basically, like Mary Poppins has got the single best made umbrella in
she
all
flew with
time.
hers.
She goes
Right.
upwards.
it's
Right.
like
She could put it through a zombie's head. Day one.
All right, we got to get a human skull
And
somehow.
what smash? Oh, that could be. Oh,
Can you get a human head?
should we start planning for Extra Life next year and smash a human skull?
There's a little bit difference between what you just said. You meant to say, can you get a human skull, but you asked, can you get a human head? I think it'd be easier to get a skull than a head. Even though they're basically the same.
the same. The head is just the skull and the jaw.
It is, but it's way different, right?
I don't know. I feel like you have to pay someone a little bit extra for the skull because they have to clean it first.
Right, or it's like clearly the person didn't live without their skull. So you're really just kind of like playing along, like, yeah, it's not really a human head, it's a skull. But if you ask for a human head, you're like, that's fucking gross.
That's
So is
messed
it
up,
illegal
man.
to have a human skull?
I believe it might be. I think you have to be a medical doctor.
Can you
order
have
to
a
own it.
human hand?
so you can't like order one on like.
I have two.
Wait, so well, I don't think it's. Well,
See if
what
you
if
could buy
it's like
it.
someone who
Chris is
died?
thinking. Go
What
ahead.
if it's someone who like died and like a relative or something, and you kept their like bones?
Wow.
Well, no,
That
no, no.
went so off
People
the
keep
rails.
ashes. Keep like if it's a thing where it's like I want to keep grandma's skull.
Keep
So-
grandma's skull.
Imagine
To
it
be
like
fair-
a glass
Alright,
dome. Like
Grandma was in a goth band,
But it, like-
so she donated me her skull.
But like,
turn her head
you know,
into a
like,
clock.
BC
if it's a loved relative, don't you get like the rights to the?
Oh, it's okay,
body?
officer. I love them. That's why I kept her bones.
Isn't,
I'll take
isn't
care
a
of it,
little bit
officer.
too much love what got you into this situation in the first place, potentially?
Well, just
I would say so.
but like so if it's like okay, my loved grandma died, and then like
Everyone's loved.
you get the rights to the body, don't you?
Right.
I own the IP to this corpse.
I
So,
really don't
but-
know how that works.
That is interesting that you can keep the body in a pot, even though likely it's not the exact person's
Hey,
ashes.
you
It
know-
might be other people's ashes.
no, they're definitely
Yeah, I think you're
the
thinking that they do
original
that.
people's ashes.
They do
That's
that with
pets.
pets. They do that with pets. They
You
don't
know,
do that with people.
so
They
I
don't do that
got
with people?
No,
uh,
they don't do that with people. They
well,
do that
sure?
with pets.
you know, you can pay extra to get your pet cremated separate. I did that.
You have a pot of pet?
I have a pot of pet. Technically, the veterinarian still has the pot of pet, but I need to go get it at some
Technically,
point.
as in definitely, you never picked it up.
Well, I moved.
How long do they keep expired pets before they're like, well, you know, she's
How
never
long have
coming.
I been in Texas?
This one's past its sell by.
3+ years.
That was such a test for our relationship in
Oh,
more
God.
ways than you can possibly imagine. Because we had been dating 2 months at that point.
Yeah, we started dating in September, died in December.
So-
and before that, for the like month and a half before that, it had been going through chemotherapy.
And I had been helping her through the chemotherapy, emotionally helping Ashley dealing with this cat going through chemotherapy. Great cat, Rapture the cat,
Lovely cat.
longest cat in the world. You
He's
met
a big
Rapture.
cat.
You met Rapture. We went over to Ashley's apartment.
I did.
He was my
Aussie
my
cat.
gigantic Russian blue that I adopted by accident.
I tried to explain to Ashley that they had just painted her stairwell, and it was the worst smelling paint in the world. It smelled
I think
like
the
feet.
color was foot white.
It smelled like feet, and we were trying to describe. I was trying to say, yeah, when Gavin and I, when we first met you down in Australia, and we went over to your apartment, that stairwell was just painted with smell like feet, and Gavin and I couldn't stop talking about how the stairwell smelled so much like feet. It was so gross.
Well, I remember
I mean,
we
it
were
was
all
not the poshest apartment complex.
we were all walking there, and I remember looking at you just like when we got there, just like, and you did the same, and then you went inside the apartment to get something and closed the door, and we were just outside, and I was just like, whoa, God, what is this? It was like it was the worst smelling paint. Usually, I love the smell of paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paint's usually a lovely smell, but that smelled very footish. But then, so we went through the chemotherapy thing, and we were early in our dating life when
And
that
I
happened.
was a wreck that
Then
entire time.
the cat died. And I was there when they put the cat to sleep. With
Yeah,
Ashley.
you flew in like a really lovely date specifically to go to the IGN holiday party with me because it was that night.
That was the real reason why I flew in.
Yeah.
Then the cat had to be put to sleep. And we loved it, so we kept its bones, of course, Chris, because we loved the cat. And then that was the night when Ashley said, I can't really deal with this. So just so you know, I'm going to this party. I'm going to drink to cope with this. Like, I'm going to drink to forget this for a night.
And that
So
was Bev
she's-
night.
Yeah, that was the night when she got so fucking hammered. That
My
she was like,
strategy going in was taking a shower to get ready. I think I finished off a bottle of rum in the shower.
Classy.
Yes. Only the best. It was spiced
she
gold
was
rum
drinking in the shower.
I've drank in the shower.
by the
I've never
bottle.
done that. That sounds awesome, actually.
Like, it was a college thing. It's like a beer in the shower. It's like I don't know. It's fun.
Right. Try a bottle of just booze.
It was-
It's nice. And then my strategy at the party was I'm going to order a drink and a shot with it.
Okay.
That'll
Yeah, that's the
turns
way
out
to
that'll
get
get you real
going.
fast.
I can see that being actually Chris's thought process when he's in college. Oh, it's fun.
I imagine Chris arrives at the bar with everyone else. He's like, "You guys have a drink in the shower too?" They're like, "Yeah." That's the only one getting bevved up on
I think
your
it
own
was
in the
just like
shower.
it's like I have my own shower. I can drink beer. I can do both.
There is a nice feeling when you get to the point where you don't live with parents anymore. It's like, I can do whatever I want now. And then you end up just doing like the most boring stuff.
Well, do you go through a phase too where you're like, I'm gonna leave that dirty dish because no one's gonna make me clean it up,
I
and then
would've-
then you look around after a week and you go, huh, and
yeah,
then
I would
immediately
thought I would
turn
be
into an adult.
more like that, but I try and be super tidy.
You know?
Or you don't live with anybody, Chris, right? You're single, live by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ladies,
You live with somebody, Gavin.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, I know that you live with somebody. Do you guys, I'm going to see how to put this so it doesn't like out anybody. Are you and Meg equally as cleanly?
No.
So one of you is messier person.
Hygienic, yes.
Yeah, no,
But
I'm
in
not saying
terms of just like
housework.
stuff everywhere and being able to see the floor, we're very different.
Very different, right? Yeah.
Shoes.
We're pretty on point. The one exception being whatever's going on at your end of the closet. That's just like craziness.
I'm a big believer in walking the door, the clothes are off within the first 30 seconds.
It's like an explosion.
And they stay there until like one day of the week. I'll go through and I'll pick everything up all at once.
But why don't you have like a laundry
to put 'em.
basket to shoot your clothes into?
What, right inside the front door?
Why not? It's your house.
Why, yeah.
So when you get your cut off when you get in the door, is it full clothes or just down to your underwear?
You know, it depends on how I'm feeling.
Speaking of underwear, I want to thank MeUndies for sponsoring this podcast. Picture a world where putting on a new pair of underwear isn't just fresh. You're stepping into a better day. Think about it. Underwear is the first thing that you put on and the last thing you take off. And if you're Ashley, you take it off as soon as you walk in the door. Why would you settle for anything less than the best feeling underwear on the planet? Why would you? My friends at MeUndies sent me a few pairs a while back, and I can't imagine wearing anything else. I finally got a pair of MeUndies. I'm super excited about it. Do you have some? Yes, sir. Look at you. I think we're all wearing them. I changed. I won't say the brand, but I changed from another brand because I'm finally like on board. They sponsor so many of our podcasts.
Are you talking about dog shit undies? The really terrible undies?
Yeah, I'm talking about dog shit undies. Yes, those are my brand before this. For the price of 2 cocktails, MeUndies will deliver your new favorite pair of underwear right to your doorstep. better day guaranteed. What does that mean, better day guaranteed?
You
It
have a
means
better
that
day.
if you're wearing like nice underwear, you
Oh, I read it wrong.
automatically feel better.
I thought they were delivering it so fast. It was like better than first day. They were going to do it.
Oh.
But they're guaring that you'll have a better day. And for a
didn't read
limited
it wrong,
time,
you just understood it
everyone
wrong.
in the Rooster Teeth audience gets 20% off their first order, but you have to go to the special URL, MeUndies.com/roosterteeth. With the MeUndies Better Day Guarantee, you have nothing to lose, so don't wait any longer. Go to MeUndies.com/roosterteeth right now for 20% off your first order. That's MeUndies.com/roosterteeth. And I read an ad, so I got free MeUndies, and I'm super excited.
So,
Thank you, MeUndies, for sponsoring the Rooster Teeth podcast and a lot of other Rooster Teeth podcasts as well.
Why is it
I'll
the
read
ad
the
reader
next
that gets
ad.
the free stuff?
Woo.
I'll read the next ad.
You want free undies?
I'll do it.
You can have some of my free undies. Every now and again,
No,
they'll just
I have
like
to read
walk
that.
through the office and give me a pair of underpants, and it's like the highlight of my day.
Chris,
Highlight
would
of my
you-
day is when you come in and take your clothes off. I like that.
Fair enough.
Little
So
trail of clothes.
before we get too far away from the zombie talk, BC Blackhand on Twitter did actually send us a GIF of
Sorry, what?
of a skull being excavated, and they accidentally punctured it. So
Really?
it can be done on accident.
Well,
so
well,
see
that with
here it
a
is.
with a pickaxe.
How's that an accident?
Yeah, but it's not like it's got a lot of momentum
That's made
behind it.
up. That's fucking made up.
It's off in the hole.
That is clearly staged. What
Oh, shoot.
archaeologist? is-
Quiet.
Oh, I meant to brush it off with the hammer. I didn't mean to smash it in the middle.
In Minecraft, that might happen, but in real life, that you don't. Whoops.
You know
that never
who's way
happens.
back on the Minecraft wagon?
Buck-a-buck.
Burnie.
Buck-a-buck-a-buck.
He's playing it constantly again.
Actually, I have something to show you.
Is it
Oh,
because your
no.
best
Oh,
friend
Control
God.
room.
What
Are you
did
ready
you
for
do?
this? Yeah, you're gonna be so excited to see this image that I have prepared for the podcast tonight.
Oh my God, did you die?
Nope. Where do we have it to show? Do we on the screen somewhere? 1 minute. Okay. So I've been playing Minecraft. I've been playing two games basically. I've been playing Fallout Shelter. As you guys know, I've been playing that for fucking ever. And then I play Minecraft on hardcore. And it's really weird that I started playing Minecraft again the week that we did Extra Life, and Notch donated. I think he got up to like $28,000.
I know that his last donation was $8,008 so that he could spell boob with it. 'Cause he's a man after our own heart.
See, I would do that with $80. that's how I would do that.
Just be boob.
Ashley, look at that. I have finished Fallout Shelter.
Oh, thank
I'm
God.
done.
We did
How
that
do you
today at
finish
work.
it?
No, I did have the last thing it was going to complete at some point during the day at work. Like they had to build the last outfit, and they completed it, and I logged in and was like, "You did it."
This is fantastic because
It
every
took
morning,
for fucking ever.
You've
every
played the
morning
entire-
he does
everything.
his maintenance.
But he does it on a Mac.
I do it on a PC.
He
On
moves
PC.
it. He moves his save.
So what? What does that mean?
It's just a bizarre way of playing games.
No, it's when they what?
Playing a mobile game on a PC?
It's not, well,
It's also on PC.
it's just a game.
Yeah, but it's designed to be a mobile game.
It's
like,
way
people like
better
playing
than
that.
Angry
Also,
Birds
this
on the
one-
PC.
I don't know that like since they've added quests and everything, I can definitely see the appeal on PC. There's a lot more to it now. But thank God because he does maintenance every morning before we leave, and he'll be like 5 minutes, and I'll be sitting around being like,
Yeah, she gets mad. She stares a hole in the side of my head. If I was a season 4 zombie,
You know-
a hole.
You know, though, if you're playing on a mobile device, you could do it on the go. You wouldn't have to make anyone wait.
I don't want that though. I don't want that. I like the idea of playing a game that I don't actually play all that much, and if I had a mobile device, I'd be pulling it out.
How is every day not all that much?
Because I only play it for like 10 minutes every day.
But it's every day.
Okay.
It's a much bigger
But
part of your life.
The
I
point
get
is I
what-
finished the game.
I get what you're saying though, because if it's a mobile game, you're like, oh, I've got 5 minutes now, and you end up doing it throughout the day, and it's all.
Or I have
the
like
problem is that it's never 5
momentary
minutes.
pause in my life, and out comes my phone.
As someone who constantly underestimates the amount of time something takes, I'm because I'm the same way. I'll be like, this takes 5 minutes, where it takes me exactly 18 minutes to get from here to here, and completely underestimate all of the time around that you add on, which is how I end up habitually 15 minutes late to pretty much everything.
Everything. Yes.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
just overestimate, and then you're always early.
Nah, because then I don't have nearly enough time to do all the other stuff I got to do.
Well, then you have to wake
She
up
makes us
earlier.
late everywhere we go. I like her a lot. I like you a lot.
God,
You're very nice.
Yeah.
it's
Very
so
pretty.
real, though.
You're late everywhere we go.
Well, that's what you get for being in the top 1%. Is I get a lot all kinds of awesome things.
I also have to drive. Like she was bugging me this morning.
I drive sometimes, but I was playing. I wanted to play Pokemon, and then we ended up talking anyway. So
She's bugging me to leave because I'm like I had a couple of Fallout people who were like right at the tail end of training up to level 50.
Important stuff, yeah.
So I had to move them to another room because it's like if I move them to the room, I'll finish today. I didn't tell her that. But I gotta get them in there and I gotta get them like trained up. So I moved them. And she's like, come on. We go out, we get in the car, I drive, she's playing Pokemon the whole way to work. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me with this.
Look, this is for research.
For what? The patch?
Yeah,
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
absolutely. I've got to do comparisons between sun and moon and X and Y.
Or just Google it, and then just pretend you did it.
It's not the same.
Well, it's the same thing with me in Fallout
firsthand
Shelter.
experience.
You know, I'm a key personality at a video game entertainment company. I should be talking about a game that came out 18 months ago, and how hard it is to finish. Took forever. Can you hand me another one?
That said, I am very proud of you.
You've
played.
I didn't know it was a game that could be finished.
Yeah, I thought
Well,
it was just.
it's
I just
it's,
collected everything. That's what took for fucking ever.
It's for
I will
like
say
a
one thing.
given value of completion, right?
I will say one thing. I did not collect one category, but it's the category that you can only get with lunch boxes. And I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to pay like $400 in lunch boxes to click on shit to
Oh.
get that.
Well, I mean,
Alright.
you crashed a drone, so just spend another
There you
$1,000
go.
in lunchboxes.
Small correction. The skull was from Arrested Development.
Love it.
I thought it looked familiar.
Go fucking figure.
So, okay, if you went on eBay, typed in human skull,
Let's go on eBay and type in human skull.
I assume it'd just be a replica.
And then put a watch
but
list.
isn't it interesting that you can have people's dust, but you can't have them pre-dust? It's like, wait, you can't have this yet. Let's crush it and burn it to pieces. Now you can have it.
Why is that? Because people could do weird stuff with the body, or because it's unhygienic and hazardous to your health?
Real,
Why? I think it's because of the freaky stuff.
real human skull with carrying case.
With a carrying case.
$1,800.
Oh,
Wait,
we
I
should
don't
get
know-
it, and we should see if you can headbutt it. To see if you can shatter it with your head.
It's funny when you read that. I thought you were saying carry, like Carrie Shawcross. So it's like, it's got a carrying just in case. He just comes with it. He's like, I'm just here if you need
Just-
me.
It's got a 3-star rating.
How many skulls?
How mad would you be if your skull got 3 stars?
Or, yeah, if it's delivered poorly, it's like, I mean, the skull was great, but
I would like to do this. The technology is there. I've talked about it on the podcast before. I would like to get an MRI of my skull and then get it 3D printed. Like, that is my skull. Like, we should be able to do that, right?
I'm
You're
sure
a
you
morbid
wouldn't need
son
an
of a
MRI
bitch.
to do
Why
that.
would you want your own skull?
Why would I need an MRI? I'm curious, like, what my skull looks like.
You want to do some phrenology?
Phrenology? Yeah, I'm gonna go.
We're gonna measure some of the bumps and see if you're actually a serial killer.
Did
And
we-
just don't know it yet.
I took the boys to Philadelphia I wanted to take them. I took them the weekend before the election because the election was
Great.
already looking like a misery for the American people. Just like it was, everyone's at each other's throats. We had a whole discussion on the podcast about how the campaign of 2 years was not going to end on Tuesday. We knew that. No matter who got elected, everyone was like, "Oh, we're finally here. It's at the end." It's like it's not the end. It's going to just keep going. And sure enough, it's going. And it's probably, I would argue, more heated now than it was before the election. But I thought, since we're heading into this election, and honestly, the whole thing just seems like a nightmare, I wanted to take the boys somewhere that would like make them feel cool about American government, American history. So I took them to Philadelphia. Thought about taking them to Washington, but I said I took them to Philadelphia. That was a great choice.
Did you show him your $100?
I did. I had the Benjamin Franklin here. We went to the Benjamin Franklin house. They didn't mention the 14 bodies they found in Benjamin Franklin's basement.
What?
That was just recently. That was like a couple years ago. They were like, "Oh yeah, we were doing some renovation work, and we found the remains of 14 people in Benjamin Franklin's basement."
Well,
there
I mean,
14 carry
he was
cases?
getting really good money for him on eBay.
No. Wait. Did they say they were his? Like they weren't like his kills, were they?
Hey, he loved them, Chris. He loved them very much.
What was Ben Franklin's KD?
Had to be
at,
pretty high.
at least 14.
Let me look this up. I'm going to see if, before I disparage one of our founding fathers of this country.
Hey, he was still really good with electricity, but you have to practice somehow.
Yeah.
While you're doing that, we should mention that the
I like this question.
might.
I'm from Smithsonian Institute. It's like, why was Ben Franklin's basement filled with skeletons? All right, go ahead, Gavin. Sorry.
The raffle for Extra Life is still, you can still bid on stuff,
Yes.
and it's will
Real
go
human
till
skulls.
Wednesday, and winners will be announced on Friday. So if there's a cool item that you may have missed donating for, you still can. That's it.
Huh.
All you.
Peter Hayes F1 says human skulls cannot be sold in Georgia, Tennessee, or New York, but they're perfectly legal in the rest of the U.S.
Good
so
for
we're
us.
good here.
Yeah, we can buy all the skulls we want, or bury all the skulls we want in our basements.
What do you want to be done with your skull when you're done with it?
I want to put a plant in it.
Upside
Oh,
down.
that's
I want to
good.
like. I want to
Wait,
like.
Do you want to
like,
use the eye holes as plants?
Yeah,
we
I want to like grow some
smash the
flowers
top
or
off?
maybe some nice succulents. I just made a succulent garden and I'm very proud of it. So I'm really feeling it right now.
Settle a bet here, Chris. She said she made a garden of succulents. What is a succulent? Describe what one of those looks like to you. What kind of flower is that?
Well, those are those
plant,
little
I should
green bulb, like you squish them.
You squish them and goo
Like-
comes out, right?
Yeah. They're kind of like aloe vera, like baby aloe veras.
Like a baby aloe vera.
Like they're like
is that a
little
fair
green-
statement? Like,
Well-
where would you find it? Where would you find one of these in the world?
IKEA.
I think on the table in the kitchen. Rooster Teeth.
See, I thought it was succulent. I thought it was like a nice little sweet little flower. They're all cactuses.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
other-
They're like little green bulbs.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
that's
aloe
not
vera
succulent to
grow
me.
in deserts. So
Cactus.
look at all these lovely little things.
They
I
have
made
to
an entire
retain-
garden out of them.
They have to retain their moisture in their leaves.
She killed it. She was awesome.
Yeah,
You
I did a
killed
good
it?
job. I did. Hold on. In
Oh,
fact, I'll
like, killed
send a
it.
picture through to broadcast of my lovely little garden that I made. I'm really proud of it. It's like the most normal thing I've ever done.
Do you usually do abnormal things?
Yes.
The gardener was super impressed. The guy, the long guy.
That
He was
she
like-
killed it.
Yeah, he was like, this is good. I like this. He's like, she did a good job. I tried to take credit for it, but he's
Are you confused by the phrasing of "killed it"?
Yes. Wait.
she did a great job.
Not that she killed the plant.
Did she? Wait. She actually killed it, or did she like killed
The plant's dead.
pet? Okay.
Sure, why not?
I was like, she killed it. She.
Well, get me out of the discussion. The plant is dead, and we have its bones because we loved it.
All right.
Plants had
just
bones.
sent it to broadcast in Slack.
What was the email address you used?
Stop it.
controllers. But yeah, so I guess succulents, I mean, it's like the little aloe veras, right? Where they're desert plants. They apparently absorb water through their leaves, like from the air. They are just like, they've already accepted the fact there's no water. So really, if you think about it, I planted them because I thought they might be impossible to kill. So look at this, what I planted. Isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
They
Good
look like
looking
peppers.
succulent.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Killed it.
We had this one kind of like palm tree thing that's in that. It's like a miniature palm tree, but it's all derpy. It like literally it grows
Like
in
it
a
melted
curve.
at some point. It looped back down and just like hung there. So I had to get all these stakes and try and prop it up. It's gonna be a really long process to try and straighten it out. It's got like its scoliosis is serious.
I got 2 plants in my place.
Yeah.
One of them I planted sideways. It's always been diagonal. So what I did was I put the side that it's leaning this way. I put it away from the window to hope it grows towards. the
How's that
window.
working?
It hasn't done anything yet. It's still just sideways plant. But
I mean, isn't just the leaves that do that though? Like the actual stem, if it's pointing that way, it's always gonna go.
Ashley and I had the whitest conversation today, by the way.
Okay.
We
let's
talking about
go.
brunch?
The whitest white people conversation.
Let's try and guess, Chris.
Oh, you'd never be able to guess it. It would be like something like right out of a sitcom. How white it is.
I'm
Alright,
not
go
sure
for
what
it.
it was, so I'm looking forward to this.
We're standing there in the front of our house with like cups of coffee. We're looking out the front like glass door at the long guy working, and Ashley says, "Do you think we should tell the long guy we didn't vote for Trump?" That's literally like it was like the whitest white person conversation. It's like she would go out there and tell him that like we didn't vote for Trump.
hey, we didn't vote for Trump.
We're not one of the bad ones.
Well, I
Well,
mean, no,
it's
I see it though, because it's like you might spit on your lawn or so. No,
I'm
that's-
sure I'm listening.
It's less that and more he seemed, I don't know, like he's really enthusiastic and he's got a lot of energy and he's really, really, really nice. But he seems
I embellished
like
a little bit with the coffee cups. By the way.
he's just a little bit, but
I
that's fine.
whited it up
You-
even more.
You drew a nice picture.
Yeah.
So I'll take it. But he seemed a little bit down and I was wondering if he was like really worried about that and I was like, I wonder like how many of the people he works for.
Well, there's a buddy of ours, Tyler
Voted.
Oakley. He posted that like after the day after the election, he was going to an airport and he's on edge everywhere he goes because he thinks he's like, did 50% of the people that I see, that every other person I run into, did they basically just cast a vote against me and my lifestyle, trying to make my life illegal essentially? And it's like he wanders around thinking that. When in actuality, 50% of the people he sees didn't
even
even
vote.
give a fuck enough to vote.
Just a quarter.
You know what really aggravated me about that, about the not voting thing? Do you guys know who Colin Kaepernick is? He's a QB for the San Francisco Kaepernick, is that how you said? Yeah, it's Kae Kaepernick. But he there was a big hubbub about him because he wouldn't do. He wouldn't stand up during the national anthem, right? And he was taking a knee, and then like other high school students, he was protesting brutality and police beatings, especially against African Americans, and that's why he was not standing up for the national anthem. caused a huge uproar. And then it was a big source of debate, and other people started to like protest along with him and everything. Fucking guy didn't vote. He did not vote in the election and openly talked about how he didn't vote. It's like, how can you of all people not vote?
If you're protesting.
Yeah. It's like he did try to explain it, saying that like he's against the system and he would be a hypocrite if he supported the system. But it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, Trump actually called this guy out 2 weeks before the election, and this is a guy who didn't vote. It's crazy.
Wow.
The really crazy thing about not voting to me is that voting in most places is public record. Not who you vote for, but the fact that you voted or that you're registered.
So that can be looked up.
It can be looked up. So you can see out of all the people you know who didn't vote. I remember I talked to you about that on the last day because she missed early voting and she went out the day of the election. I was like, you absolutely.
This was my level of commitment to performing my duty as a citizen. I got up at 6:45 in the morning. That never happens. I don't care what the call sheet says. And because voting opened at 7, there's a school up the street that I was able to go to. So I got there at like 5:02 in like sweatpants and looking properly, 6:45 in the morning. And I proceeded to stand there for the next half fucking hour because they had technical difficulties. Is there anything more American than that?
It's good.
Really,
Technical
nothing.
difficulties is certainly
Oh yeah,
American.
and like muttering and bitching with the people next to you about
Yeah.
how you could be somewhere else voting, except now the lines are too long.
You guys all voted, or not you, Gavin, obviously, but you voted early voting, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in the RT
Heathen.
life.
Heathen.
I was at the office and it started raining, and I thought, I'm going to go early vote right now because I'm sure people are not going to go out to vote
That's smart.
in the rain. It was perfect. They didn't have to wait 2 seconds to get to a machine.
Minor detour back. Dr. Skills with a 1 on Twitter says apparently the bodies in Ben Franklin's basement were for an anatomy school his friend was operating, according to the Smithsonian. A likely story.
Yeah.
Well, just start an anatomy school, Chris. There you go.
And we really loved all of our anatomy patients.
Well, how did you love them exactly?
It's an anatomy school. Okay.
I mean, look, a lot of,
You still gotta
particularly
get
like
the
early
bodies.
biology is based on dead people without permissions.
Mm-hmm.
Because
and so, like,
you
someone
love
who
their anatomy.
provides you with the body doesn't say, and by the way, when you're done with this,
Maybe they
learning
only
about
need
anatomy,
cuts.
just like get rid of it on your own. I mean, it's like they buried them in the basement. That's kind
They
of.
didn't even take him out of the basement. There's like, they're doing a school in the It's like
They just put them in a pit. It was all in one pit.
Maybe
Over
that was an
1,200 pieces of
experiment
bone.
to see if they would grow.
succulents.
Fertilized.
All right, so we got away from something. We were going to come back. Oh, the ACT. Someone just said on Twitter, if we started talking about anything else on this podcast and didn't finish, let us know, and we'll circle back to it. So someone asked, what was my story about the ACT? It was really dumb. It was, I forget what the context of was we were talking about earlier, but when I was taking the ACT, there was one of those things where you read. It was for reading comprehension where you read like 3 paragraphs and then you answer questions based on what you read. Except the story that they decided to tell was so fucking ridiculous. It completely took me out of this really intense test. It was a story about how cats can jump out of a high rise from 6 floors or below and they die. But if they jump from higher than 6 floors, they tend to live because they have an instinct where they spread out and it slows them down for
Like a
air
drone.
resistance. And then when they land on the rib cage, which compresses, and they're fine. So there was a story of a cat that fell out 25 floors up, and it fell down, and then it spread out, wham, hit the ground, and only had 1 broken leg. And it's just this idea of all these cats flying through the air. It's like,
And who's testing this? Wait, who's like the? Let's throw the
I
cat
remember-
out the window.
Okay, to be fair, I've also tested this hypothesis on accident. Same cat, actually. This cat was trouble. This was
was
the most
stupid, Ken.
expensive free cat I've ever had in my life. Same cat, Rapture. I was away for the weekend. Burnie, you might be jinxed because that was the weekend that I met you
was it really?
in Melbourne.
Cat
And
didn't like me.
I came back from Melbourne and I'd left one of the windows. It had a screen in it, but I left it cracked open so he could get some air because my apartment didn't have air conditioning. The screen was loose and my cat was missing. I lived 4 stories up. And I eventually found him, and he spent the next week in kitty ICU with a punctured lung.
So he just bolted
So he
through the window.
survived, but yeah, well, I think he bolted out, or he got out the window onto the ledge on the outside. You know, they have those little brick ledges.
Yeah.
And then the screen collapsed back in because he wasn't forcing it out anymore, but it didn't go in. It only went out. So he couldn't get back in and eventually fell off. That's my forensic theory.
It's a bummer.
He probably jumped off. Because cats, when they're stuck somewhere for a while, they eventually just...
Yeah.
Go for it.
Gave up, jumped for it. Yeah, that was one of the other most panicky moments of my life. That fucking cat, man. I miss that cat.
Cuddly cat?
Yeah.
He was great. He would sleep on my head. I had like a kind of like little bald patch from where he'd constantly lick it.
That's weird.
Really?
Yeah. I had
I've lost
one
Joe the
part of
cat
my
to her.
hair
Joe
was
the
like
cat
really
just
short.
Snoogs up to her.
Yeah, he likes me best.
I love my new cat.
He now also, by the way, sleeps on my head. Same sort of thing.
So your cat,
Maybe you have a really hot head.
Maybe.
your cat almost sent
What do you get for being the 1%?
Meg did send Meg to the hospital.
Smee the cat?
Yeah. What's up with that? Cat's a menace.
It's weird because 99% of the time you can do whatever to the cat. The cat's fine. You can like smush him, put his face all over your face. But sometimes when he's like worked up into a little frenzy and his tail's gone all puffed, you can't touch him.
Yeah.
He
that's what the
lashes
puff's
out.
for.
Wait, how did that send her to the hospital?
She got bit.
What do you think happened, Chris?
Well,
She also didn't go to the hospital.
I
she
saw the
just,
cat and had a heart attack.
she just went to a. She just went to the doctor. She just got bitten and had to take antibiotics because it's infection. Cat's mouths.
Cat
gross.
pulled a knife.
So, Bernie, did you ever ask the question about the ACT? Or
That was it.
whatever?
That was the cat jumping off.
Oh, really? That's the extent of it?
You over there drunk?
Probably.
I told you it wasn't a good story. I was telling you in context.
thing
So I
about
thought this was
cats-
going to have something to do with like testing and scores or whatever, not cats.
The
I mean,
cat's
honestly,
mouth.
the
is so gross.
the question you asked earlier was a way better question.
What was the question I asked earlier?
The perfect test question. It read like a math test.
Oh,
Which
one
one?
That was
word
an
problem
article.
of the stuff of the butt.
Yeah, stuff up the butt.
That was the gold nugs.
Are we covering what we talked about earlier in the podcast? Why are we doing that?
Don't you
Here's the
remember-
recap.
Bernie, don't you remember we talked about this?
So what were you going to say about the ACT?
Stop it. Can't handle this. And no more of this, Gavin. Oh, there's Meg's hand. Look at us all puffed up like his tail.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Is
So
she
you
gonna
can
keep it?
you can get bitten by a cat if it's just playing. As soon as a cat isn't playing, it will bite like 5 times harder than it ever has before.
Yeah.
And it will just go. They're incredibly powerful jaws.
Kids do that
Like
too.
alligators.
Yeah.
Kids?
Oh my God. Little kids, they bite you. They got those little sharp razor teeth, those little baby teeth. Man, they'll fuck you up.
Who bit you?
My kids have bitten me. Been bitten by other kids. It happens all the time.
No
biting.
children are biting me. But
Was
I
this
don't, hand,
in
I don't handle
was this
them.
in public bathrooms?
Oh, Michael Jones is having a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna get bit by that baby? Probably?
Nah, that'd be fine.
Did
That
I
baby
tell-
will-
I was talking to you about it. It's weird because it's like I remember when I met Lindsay. I remember when I met Michael. I remember when they met each other. I remember when they started dating. When they got
When they got
married.
married.
Now they've got a little thing.
It's crazy.
You know?
They've got a little thing. Michael and Lindsay's little thing.
Well, it's probably what, bean sized right now?
It's a little nug. It's like basically
Right.
just
Yeah, it's like a butt puck.
I don't pay attention to that stuff until it's all done. I mean, the end process. What are you gonna do? I mean, if you know how big it is, how does that help you?
You know what the worst thing is about a small baby / tiny child?
I'm
Once.
sorry, what's the worst thing? Because all I can think of is, oh my God, thank God my vagina.
Well, I mean, I was just going aside from being bitten by a child.
I think the same thing.
Aside from being bitten, tiny fingers. I was once wrestling with my young cousins, and he was like grabbing, and his finger went so far up my nose, and he had, for some reason, he had jam on his finger. And I'm pretty sure he almost touched my brain. Like, there may be some jam on the front of my brain, because I was like, oh God, it just felt so horrible, like nothing had ever been that high. I was like, oh. Gross. It was gross. I don't recommend
how
it.
far do you think you could put your finger up your nose?
Well, my nose probably pretty far because my giant nostrils. Little finger, go like, I don't know. It's like as soon as you
It's not a
start
game
touching,
you want to play.
when you start touching wetness, you want to stop.
It's right away, isn't it? I mean, I guess not. Get a little barrier there. got the DMZ. The thing about kids is, I'm really interested to see what happens with you guys now that Michael and Lindsay are going to have a baby. Because I will say this, you hear a lot about millennials. There are people who's like millennials this, millennials that, ... The one thing I have to say that does genuinely concern me about people in your age group is how most of you don't like or want kids. And it might just be the fact that we work in entertainment So I'm just around a bunch of 20-somethings that have different goals. But when I was like 28, most of my friends were like starting families and everything, and you guys are like, no fucking way.
I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea of it entirely, but it's like, I'm not gonna force it.
Do you ever
Well, I mean,
think?
that would be,
Do you ever think about how old your parents were when they had? Right now,
Chris, wow.
Where was that going?
Some fucking minefield you just walked into. It's like literally like we're all sitting on the edge of a minefield and Chris is just stopped on a beach. There's a sign with a skull and crossbones, and we're all just watching with beers going. See how he gets out of this fucking one.
well, Brandon just got married. If he's gonna, I bet he'll have like things.
How was the wedding?
His wedding was crazy.
Why was it crazy?
It was okay. In college, I used to film weddings as like a job, as another job.
Mhm.
Right? And so I saw a lot of weddings. This was the nicest, most craziest wedding I've ever been to.
I heard it was intense.
They were like, they had like dancing robots that showed up at one point at like 3 a.m. They're like upping the ante at 3 a.m. They're like, oh yeah, we haven't busted out the dancing robots. It's 3 a.m. Let's bring them out.
Barbara was telling me
for
that
Extra
when
Life?
you would get a drink and you'd get to the bottom of the drink, there would be someone there immediately to swap out your
Yes.
drink with a new glass. And speaking of new glasses, thanks to Warby Parker for sponsoring this episode of the Rooster Teeth podcast. Warby Parker makes high-quality, stylish frames for prescription glasses. Awesome glasses start at $95 compared to similar quality boutique brand frames that sell for $300 and more. Warby Parker also has a free home try-on program that's very cool. You go to their website, choose 5 pairs of frames, and then send them. And they send them to you so you can try them on and decide which ones that you like best. You can go to warbyparker.com/roosterteeth right now to see some of Gus's favorite frames. Why Gus's? Why am I reading this? Look at that! He got his name on the website and everything. Go there and see it. I want to see what Gus likes. He likes the Amos. He likes the Bowen. I secretly hope he has my glasses on there, and he doesn't know that he put them on there. The Burke, I think those are my glasses. Go down again. Can you go down? The Burke, I think Gus selected my glasses.
The one.
He's in love with me.
He thinks you're very stylish.
All right, so if you want to see Gus's favorite glasses, go to warbyparker.com/roosterteeth right now to see some of Gus's favorite frames and also see some low bridge fit options like the ones his wife Esther likes. You can easily start your own home try-on program today. Get free 3-day shipping on your final frame selection. That's warbyparker.com/roosterteeth. I'm going to that after this to see what the hell frames Gus picked. Sorry, that was a perfect segue, so I had to interrupt you. Go ahead.
So okay, as far as like the wedding and like how they kept escalating it, they at one point, Brandon they're the guy, the MC or whatever's saying something in Spanish, and I don't know what's going on, and Brandon's like, I need to find. It's like he tells me, he's like, I need like 3 or 4 of you guys to do something. I don't know what we're gonna do. So me, Blaine, and Josh and Aaron and Brandon, we get in the thing. And we're like, what are we doing? So I don't know. They just told me to pick some friends. We're doing that, and all of a sudden, they cut off the music and they clear the dance floor. There's like 400 people at this wedding.
Jeez.
Clear a big circle, and they're like, you guys are doing a dance competition with the professional breakdancing troupe over there.
There's a professional breakdancer?
They hired a breakdancing troupe.
No, they were guests.
No. Because no, they weren't.
Thanks for clarifying.
And so then it's like a thing. It's like they one of them would come out and do flips and like spin around. One of them put a helmet on so he could spin on the floor on his head. And
That's
then and then they were
awesome.
like, then one of us had to get out, and it's not that. But no, he was that was a
They were showing an image.
yeah.
So did you get out there and bust some
Yeah, I just air humped.
solid
That-
move, Chris?
No. Here's the
So
deal,
who
Bernie.
won?
I assume we did.
Good call.
It was a thing where it's like there was no way we were gonna actually compete competitively.
You
So
could
we
have done
all
the thing where you kick and spin on your back around, like
You could have done like that cool Irish dance thing.
no,
with
you
your feet.
keep
Gavin,
talking about
do
as
it.
if I know how to.
do it.
do
Yeah.
what?
Do the thing you're
Do-
saying. There's
yeah.
a space right there. Go do it.
Well, you need like a shiny floor.
This one, I'm pretty sure, has been sweeped recently because
Can
it
we
was
shine the floor
there for
real
extra
quick
life.
so Gavin can do it?
But it was it's like there's no way we're gonna compete competitively, so we have to do stupid dances to like
Oh.
try, like.
Wait, and you're single, trying to, I assume, get some that night.
Yeah. All right.
So,
and
you,
so I air
this
humped.
is the way you do it.
But
Yeah? From one of the guests?
Well, no, I didn't. Nothing.
Did you bring somebody with you?
No.
So you went there single?
Yes.
It's a smart move. Going
Yeah.
to a wedding single, smart.
Right up until the moment you air hump.
Yes, until you air hump in front of 400 people, and then all of a sudden it's not as smart.
Ashley, you've been a single lady at a wedding. Is
I
it
have.
like, are you like, oh my God? Is it like a very romantic environment?
You know, I'm gonna be honest. It depends on the age. There was a point where I was like, I should get married, and like that was the sentiment, not like who do I want to be with for the rest of my life. It was like
I should just have a
just
wedding.
get married.
It's the difference between having a wedding and being married, right?
Yeah.
I should have a wedding. So you know after that you're going to be married, right? Oh, yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah. So I've absolutely been at that age where you'd go to a wedding and just like you'd get wedding crazy. Now I'm like, where's the bar? And the food, and then like you see the bouquet coming and you run the other way.
Yeah. I
Punch it.
My whole thing with that is like, I couldn't understand.
I'm not
'cause it's-
shaming people for
Brandon-
not wanting kids. I got accused of shaming people.
well, no,
Shame on you all.
sorry.
Fucking shame on you. You're not even full humans if you don't want children. I'm just saying it's just one of the things I've noticed about millennials. As a group, they tend to not want to have kids.
Well, it's also one of those things too where a lot of people are like living their own lives and enjoying them, and so that switch might come later. Not saying it will for everyone, but if it does, it seems like people are enjoying themselves longer.
I don't know. I feel like the later you go in life and the further you get removed from your own childhood, that you tend to want to go like experience childhood again, or like, you know, be a proxy and have kids. Like you get more and more removed from that situation. You know, that's what I think. So
I think some of the not wanting to get married is like more of our childhoods had divorce in them, so we're like more like hesitant.
yeah,
You know, like, oh well, you know, I know
but
how
my
that is.
generation was the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a 50% divorce rate in this country since the 50s. I think
Right.
it's actually less
People
now.
just didn't talk about it so much, I think.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
So what happened after you?
Well, that wouldn't prevent
Oh.
that. People still experienced it. So when they were growing up,
After,
No, they didn't, Bernie.
they didn't talk about it. I didn't even know my parents were divorced. They never mentioned it for 14 years. They would just be really angry at breakfast when Dad would show up from the hotel. Sorry, I interrupted your story.
No,
again.
it's fine. Well, I mean, the anything was I couldn't understand. It's like why did they hire a professional dancing? It was like, I guess it was Brandon's father-in-law was just like, I'm gonna really embarrass Brandon and his friends.
That's awesome.
Like he just hired a dance team just to embarrass us.
I mean, there's a
He's
lot
like,
of
yeah,
things
I'm going
you
to
could
throw
do.
money at
Yeah,
a
yeah.
wedding, but as long as it embarrasses Brandon.
Embarrasses
Well, there are a lot of things you can do worse than hiring a bunch of professional breakdancers to be better at breakdancing than your new son-in-law. Like there are a lot of other options, so that one is pretty humane.
Hey, it was
And
fine.
funny.
It was fun. It was a good. It was like a good. At the moment, it was terrifying.
So were you trying to get some action, or were you just not really? Going for it?
I was like, not. That was not a necessarily priority. It was just like have a good time.
You mainly like white women.
No,
Wow. It's a racist podcast.
no,
Welcome to Trump's
no.
America.
I actually I like brunettes and darker. I think yeah.
Fair play.
So here's the question on the having kids thing. If you had a kid when you were your parents' age, when they had you, how old would your kid be?
I'd be having kids right now.
I would be
I
minus
was my
2.
dad's age.
I'd have an 8-year-old.
I'm not old enough yet to have a kid. You'd have an 8-year-old?
I'd have an 8-year-old. Crazy, right?
Yeah, my
I'd
dad
have
had
an
me when I was
8-year-old
45.
me. God save, man, I feel bad for my mom. Like, if I had to deal with it, like an 8-year-old that I made right now, I'd be like, you little shit.
You deal with an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old on a regular basis, though.
I probably.
Well, yeah, I know, but they're grown up and they're nice and they know how to play video games. I don't have to walk them through any of that stuff. They came speaking English and toilet trained.
Yeah.
Chores.
And with great manners. Like, you guys did awesome work with those boys.
I know, but the chores thing is still like, that's our big sticking point in the house where it's like, hey, JD, go take the recycling out. Go take this out. Go do that. And he's like, he always tries to pawn it off on Teddy. It's like, I
mean, that is
funneling money to
that
Teddy.
is the worst,
That's the
though.
worst of it, though. Like, you're doing all right. Like, is there like a program you can just send babies away to and then they come back as like awesome people?
That seems to be a thing. A lot of people don't like that period of the babiness. Like when I saw Brian Beam brought his, I don't know how old she is now, like 2-month-old baby at this point, month old. He brought her to Extra Life. It was like all I could do was like just walk up and be like, "Nah, nah, nah," on
Yeah,
her feet and
I would
everything.
think it'd be like having a kitten, where it's like you just can't get enough of the kitten while it's a kitten. It's like it's only going to be a kitten for a short amount of time. I love this little baby,
Except that babies are babies for a lot longer than kittens are kittens.
which is why that's cool
Also, kittens like you don't have to like wipe their ass.
Go ahead.
because they lick them.
You don't?
No, say go ahead. I want to hear more about this.
Well, yeah, well, kittens, you don't have to wipe their ass, do you? Right?
No, you're not.
Okay, yeah. I didn't think so.
Although
And
Ashley said the
You
weirdest
can
thing.
sleep. What?
Her dad she has a cat named Nutmeg, which is a Siamese cat. And Nutmeg is
She's
like
a good cat.
she's a runt. She's a small cat, and she's kind of skinny little small cat. Super cute. She was also super skittish when we first got her. But when we were going to get her, she was living with Ashley's dad. And she's like, I'm going to bring the cat. And I was like, oh, we're going to have 2 cats. Too much. Her big selling point about bringing Nutmeg in was that she would lick Joe's butthole.
Think about it. Okay, Joe does not properly maintain his
Does
butthole.
he sometimes have Grogans?
There's always Grogans. There's always like stuff there, and I'm not gonna wipe the cat's butt because it's not a baby.
So you
and so
gotta-
instead, he just like has
We need
like,
it. It's
these
like the,
little bits of stuff, and I was like, she will take care of that. She's not gonna stand
Is
for
that
it.
really bugging you? A
It
tiny little nug?
absolutely bugs me that he
it's
just
on
like
her head,
has,
so yeah.
that he just
Wait.
like has
Here's
shit
what you should do though.
hanging out of him at all times.
Take your finger and flick water on his anus so he licks the water off.
I just
Well,
got a
you're-
second cat.
What you're
for that.
describing is like the old lady who swallowed a fly who got another pet to like eat.
Right.
Except
And then you're gonna end up with a human or not a human centipede, a
Human
pet,
centipede.
a pet centipede, all licking each other's butts, trying to.
Next thing you know,
But
you're
then they'll
burying
all
14
have-
people in the basement.
they'll all have nice clean
One of them had
buttholes.
Grogans.
I miscalculated a little bit because it turns out that, well, she's a skittish runt and he's a bully, so instead she just cleans her own butts. So we have the ratio's improved. Instead of 0 out of 1 butts, we have 1 out of 2 butts are clean.
Yeah, we get our butt ratio went up.
I know it's not going to be hygienic, so I can't do it. I really want to put the entire kitten's head in my mouth.
Well, you do a thing
Feel-
that I don't know anybody else who does it. You bathe your cat on a regular basis.
What? Really?
Yeah, every like couple of months. If he's getting, if he's had a little spill in the litter box, I'll give him a.
They're
You just
self-cleaning.
get another cat.
That's why you get a cat. The cats, they just maintain. They just do all the
Yeah,
stuff on their
but
own.
with pet
they lick
shampoo.
themselves and each other.
With pet shampoo and a lovely bath, the cat has never smelt and been more fluffy. And he's
See,
just
I don't feel like they smell properly cat-like then. And I don't think like
Cats
cats
really don't smell
stink.
of anything though.
Cats smell,
Right,
I like when
but
cats
the
are
second
cold.
you
they
put
smell
that,
cool.
yeah, it's nice
Cold?
when they
When they're
like,
cold, when they come out
yeah.
from cold.
and they smell.
Oh,
It's almost
yeah.
a little bit metallic.
So you like-
the cold smell.
You like the opposite of cat sweat.
I like the opposite of cat. I like frozen cat sweat. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go on record as saying I'm down with
Cat
frozen
chills.
cat sweat.
But there's something about like a cat shampoo that just seems to me. I'm like, I don't know. I don't
you-
like it.
we
It
had
don't
to-
seem not appropriately
Are
cat-like.
you not supposed to do it?
I think
I don't think
think
you
it's
are.
usually reserved for times where they get skunked or really muddy or disgusting. But I think normally their body oil is supposed to
See, I've given him.
maintain them.
I've given
themselves.
Smee maybe 5 baths, and it's usually he's fallen in the toilet or he's just got some poo on him, and I want to get it off.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
never
like,
like-
I wouldn't do it to just be like, well, I'm in the mood to bathe a cat because no one who's sane does that anyway.
Yeah, it's just when there's like an issue, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
It averages about.
Then I
once
think
every
it's
2
called
months.
for.
Yeah.
You know, you can also get like wipes for them. They're like
Yeah, it's just once a cat
bath wipes.
has set foot in a toilet, I don't want to smush the cat anymore.
Well,
So
Oh,
I've gotta
we.
wash
I
the
mean,
cat.
you know what? Honestly,
just
I
put it
leave
in the
our
toilet and
toilet
flush
seats
it.
up so that the cats can get in the toilet.
But that's gross because there's the poo and the butt mud that they're gonna get on them.
Well, I mean, okay, if there's skid marks in the toilet, yeah, it'll go down. But honestly, I like to have an emergency water source, and the cats are really like drinking out of ceramics, so I just let them go for
It's
it.
not clean for the paws. They have to stand in the bog hole to get to the water.
Well, I
'cause
mean,
they-
they're probably not going to put their actual paws in it. They're going to brace themselves.
On the
They're
seat.
not. They're not
You're a
assholes.
lunatic. Look.
No. Their back feet go on the seat, and
Yeah.
then they put their paws above the water line and brace themselves.
Right, but
and
that's
then
in
drink.
the poo zone.
Look,
And
as
how
someone
high
who
do
has
you
actually
poo?
taken a bath in the toilet, I think it's fine. I think you're overreacting.
Toilets are
Gaston.
disgusting. There's like grossness.
I mean, it's true, but let's be honest. Animals lick their own assholes.
Or other
Right.
animals' assholes. If
Or yeah, like if you get lucky.
I don't usually pick up. I don't usually pick up my cat by its tongue. Like I pick it up by the
but
part
you
yeah,
know,
you're
it
not
doesn't
living.
lick your face.
No,
But it's been licking its butt and then licking the rest of its body. So like it's all there.
I feel like there's enough steps in between that for me to be okay with it. If he stood
There's
in a toilet
probably
bowl,
enough steps between the toilet bowl and that as well. I mean, unless he's standing on you when his paws are wet.
it's
Why
happened.
don't humans clean each other with
Really?
their tongues?
It's happened?
Why don't humans do what?
Clean themselves with their tongues? Or each other?
Stinky.
You know
'Cause we
what's
suck
funny?
at
I
it?
find I was thinking about this the other day, where it's like if I have something gets on the back of my hand, I would never go like "Leh," and lick the back of my hand, but I would go like this and then rub it off.
Because you want to use the spit, you just don't want to apply the spit with the bit that tastes.
Right, but it's like, why am I licking my finger, which is way worse, and then rubbing it on my hand, as opposed to just licking my
Because you don't have to taste it.
Whatever
When
the
you
thing
lick
is.
it, you have to taste it.
Most of what I'm spilling, I'm eating, so it's like I'm okay with that anyway. I think I can't think of the last thing I spilled on my hands.
What you should do is just gob onto your hand. If
Nice
you do
little
it,
spit.
if you do a raspberry, it's like an even spray.
So we want to wrap this up, but I want to cover some stuff from Twitter. Lackland Rob, also known as @theswink
Are
on
you getting more
Twitter.
complaints about spending money?
No,
Oh, okay.
wanted to. No, but I did touch a nerve with the millennial thing. Sorry, I wasn't calling anybody out for. I was just pointing out a trend.
I didn't feel called out.
That trend has obviously been verified by the number of people who are upset that I pointed it out. I think
Here's why
millennial
you went
is now
wrong.
a trigger word, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Millennials, of all people, don't like being called millennials because there's so much variation in the current millennial generation because everyone's still so young and old
Honestly,
at both ends. It's like,
I think I'm
don't let me in
technically
with
on
them.
the edge of that.
If you're born in the 80s.
Yeah.
I think
Millennial.
solid Generation X.
I think it's like 85 to like 95 is millennial.
Okay, so
I
I
think it's up to
I missed
2000.
it.
At age 85. Like what? No, Chris.
How do you,
We're the
hello,
Centurions.
hello, kids.
It's just like at this point, millennials are still young enough.
around for.
It's vampires. The only people who are 1,000 years old. Those are millennials. But this Lackland Rob wanted us to know about the Ben Franklin discussion. It was Franklin's house in England before I guess he moved to the U.S. or, he kept a house in England. It was Franklin's house in England. Anatomy schools were of dubious legality at the time, especially private ones. Let me point out, private anatomy schools still very dubious to this day. That we have not progressed to the point where you can have a private anatomy school in your own house. Unless you're like in Southern California in the Valley, then it's a totally different kind of anatomy. And as long as you film it, it's legal. All right, what else we got on here? I had cousins that were divorced. This is from Sally Schmidt on Twitter. I had cousins that were divorced for 9 years and no one knew, not even their 5 children. So that's a case where somebody didn't discuss it.
Well, at some point, it used to be a thing where you just like get the separate beds, and even if you stay married, you're living your separate lives. You're only together for the kids or whatever because it's expected. So there was like divorce before even divorce was popularized.
You just can't rail dudes at home, probably.
Right, you have to go get the nice hotel for that.
That's what I do with my dudes. Go there. We actually I've been through a divorce, so we went to a point where we did talk about that of like, do you just want to stay
bad.
together, but not be married and just work it out and just
Exist.
go forward until after the kids are grown. It was like we had a very frank discussion about it, and we talked about it for a couple days, and then it was like, no, everybody was like, no, that's a terrible idea. Everybody's done here. So it was a discussion that we had. I think that's a very practical part of it. I don't think a lot of people, though, when they reach the divorce point, I don't think a lot of people are very practical. I think that a lot of times they're just like nuts,
Not at this point, but for a long time, like divorce was it was a thing that like you didn't want to be divorced because then you were basically like undateable, unmarriageable.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it's also
Keep in mind, I'm learning.
each other.
I'm
you
learning
know?
a lot of this from television. So,
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
Never been divorced?
Mad Men. I mean, only from Cats.
Not yet.
I'm working on my first.
I think it'd be really cool to meet someone who's really young and divorced. Like someone who was 20 and divorced. That's cool.
Is it?
What?
That's usually like young enough to be annulled because it's so early. Because you can't get married when you're like 16. I don't think.
Well, it depends
Well,
on the
if
state.
I was
Yeah.
single and I met someone who was 25 and they were divorced, I'd be like, that's kind of cool.
I would just assume that
That's
they were
some
really
life
bad at making
experience.
life decisions.
Or,
Like
or
if
maybe
you're
they were too
gonna
young.
jump into something as serious as marriage and then that quickly be like, nope, I'm out.
If they what if they have kids? What if they're like, I'm
They might be-
25, I'm divorced, and I have a kid? Because they obviously got married because they got pregnant.
I knew somebody.
Well,
kids.
I mean, you're generalizing, Chris.
Well, no. Well, but I'm just saying, like, if someone gets married really young and has a kid, they're probably like related.
Related?
Statistically, yeah, they're probably related to the baby in some way.
Well, okay. Well,
I know what you're saying.
yeah.
We get to keep its bones. But I knew somebody who I actually know a couple of different people. I should clarify this for legal reasons. I've heard stories about people who know people a couple different people who were married to someone for a green card. They had married someone else. Like they weren't trying to get a green card. They were American citizens and they married someone they knew or had worked with in order to help them get a green card. And occasionally they would have to like get together with this person for a weekend and act like a married couple and go around and do stuff to prove that they were actually married and in love. They were definitely married, which seems like a huge commitment to make to someone for a favor. And they'd have to stay married for like 5 or 6 years. And they'd have to get together every like month and take pictures together to maintain their marriage relationship.
I think it's really lovely.
What's that?
I think it's really lovely. That's a very nice thing to do to someone.
It's a super nice thing to do.
Well, I always worried about the people that I knew saying, what happens if you meet somebody you want to get married? You can't. And you're going to have to explain to your significant other, oh, I can't get married because I'm married to this other person. What? Let me keep talking.
You know what?
Let me explain.
I'm pretty sure that's also happened on television.
About people being married for green card stuff, for immigration stuff?
Oh, yeah. And then they go to date someone and they're like, I'm married. And they're like, oh, no, you don't understand. You know what? I think it was a romantic comedy. It was a movie.
Might have been Friends. Sounds like a David Schwimmer thing on Friends.
I don't know. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up, then I'm going to go watch that movie
Something
later.
about what you said, like, yeah, if you meet someone and they're married, but it's only like a married for whatever, green card reasons, right?
Right?
Yeah, that's got to.
Thanks, Chris. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Well,
filling
you
me in.
asked me. I stopped myself because you started saying what I was gonna say.
I like that conversations on this podcast go like this. It's like, the conversation's progressing. Yeah, we go. It's like the conversation flew off the pass or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, it's like if you're gonna commit to something like that, that's a big deal. That's like I'm sure they didn't get a prenup or anything like that. Who
It's a
knows?
very kind
Oh,
and a
look at
legal
that.
move.
Yeah.
The 1990 romantic comedy Green Card, starring Andy McDowell and Gerard Depardieu. Depardieu. He was a dreamboat. He was also in My Father the Hero. Dude, that movie would have a hard... He would...
Gerard Depardieu? Is that what you're saying?
He was... Did you ever see My Father the Hero? It was really funny. It would never be able to come out now because it was like... He was divorced and then he had his daughter and took her on vacation.
Yeah.
And she's like 15, 16 and she like met like a bunch of people and was trying to impress them and so told them that like he was her older lover.
Oh wait, I feel like I've seen this.
And so then all the people
Where's
start
the
treating
hero
him
part
weird
come in?
and there are all these comedic misunderstandings, like when he goes and sits down at the piano at the resort and starts singing Thank Heaven for Little Girls.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. It could never come out now, but it's really wonderful.
Could come out because of the age difference thing or the incest thing?
I just think like that sort of comedy is just poorly received now.
All right, well, we're gonna close it off here and go to the post show. But I had something. I was watching Walking Dead, last night's episode of Walking Dead, and I heard something I never thought I'd hear on television, on network television. It was another character telling somebody else, "I just slipped my dick down your throat, and you said thank you to me for it."
And then her head caved in.
I was
'cause
like,
her skull
what
was
in
so
the
weak.
fuck? That's like, I would not expect that to be said. Like, sometimes they get away with like, oh shit, or you're an asshole. It's like, yeah, I can see how they get away with that. But this was like, that was extremely graphic.
I think the
Visual
last
image.
episode was the first time they used the C word and the F word without censorship
In what?
on television.
What show did
I
they
think it
use?
was Walking Dead.
They
Walking
use the
Dead.
C word?
Mm-hmm.
Can't say that on TV.
Apparently you can because they did it.
Woof.
Yeah, they really
a
pushed the
bad
boundaries over there. All right, well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Rooster Teeth Podcast. As Gavin mentioned earlier, if you want to participate in the Extra Life raffles, you still have time to do that. Gavin, do you know the URL to which to send people?
I think it's roosterteeth.com/donate or something, is it?
I believe
Is that
that
right?
you are correct. And if you want to find out more information on how you can do that, there's lots of cool stuff associated with it. I want to thank everybody who watched Extra Life this weekend and who donated. We
What was the
raised
total?
a record amount of money. We're still tallying, I think, the posters and everything, but I want to say it was, when we finished the whole thing, they estimated it was about $850,000 total. And I want to say it was like...
That puts the pressure on for next year, doesn't it?
it's really
We
close,
got to
right?
get the million now.
Well, I think Jack was saying earlier that he wanted to have $500,000 donated on the stream, and we got almost $700,000 donated.
We left around midnight and it had already passed 500. It was really amazing.
I know that in the time that I stopped watching it at home and arrived at the set, it had jumped by like 40,000.
Yeah.
It was insane how fast it was going.
And a lot of people hold back on donations because, like, big ones to sabotage you and Michael to do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like-
I
you
think
guys
Jack
got
figured
you guys got shot a lot of times.
Well, Jack's made it so that for every leet donation, 1,337, would be one paintball fired at us. And I think Jack worked out that with all of the larger donations too, we got hit by about $70,000 worth of paintballs.
Oh, wow. That's funny. That's really funny. Well, thank you to everybody. All that money goes to Extra Life, and then locally here in Austin, it benefits the Dell Children's Hospital. Jack and Katie do such an excellent job organizing all that. The broadcast crew who was here for 24 hours this week. You guys
I can't believe you're here today.
You guys were here 25 hours the previous week because of daylight saving time, right? Over on the weekend. So second, like all-nighter plus they've pulled 2 weekends in a row and they're back here again. So, hey, applause for the broadcast crew. You guys are awesome. And thanks for watching the Rooster Teeth podcast. Gus should be back next week unless he's in Australia doing whatever the fuck he's doing. So we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.